Hey y'all, it's me again, Joey.
Well, ready to let them loose?
Yep, that's it. Let's see if they make us run.
Oh,
Probably so.
yeah, that one tried to get after him, but other than that, what can you expect? I mean, can you blame them? Oh yeah, they're getting after us now. Go, Joey, go! Hey man, hey man, buddy. I'm gonna get in the truck. You gotta go back and get your camera.
But also, just get as many as you can off the one next to it. Get out.
You gotta move away.
Do that side again. Y'all ready? Let's get started. Well, hey, look who sneaked in on us.
Were you guys not already live at 7 o'clock?
No, 7:30. We just started.
I didn't even pay attention to what the time was. We just got in the house a few minutes ago.
Yep, we literally just walked inside.
Been eating, haven't you?
Oh, well, yeah, actually.
Hold on. Why do you ask that, sir?
No, we had my cousin's daughter's graduation party, which was about what, two and a half hours away from us.
Out in Springfield.
So we just got back.
That was a good ride.
Mm-hmm.
We'll go ahead and say hello to everybody over in the chat. Feel like we got a good crowd already coming in. Been
Looks
waiting
like
on us.
I figured you was down at the lake. I seen when you posted that
What lake will be at the lake this weekend?
stream trail.
Does that lake have alligators?
I've heard is headed for the lake.
Oh yeah, I did send you and Matt that picture. I forgot. I'm just being facetious. You know that.
Does that lake have alligator heads floating in it?
Definitely does not.
No.
Definitely does not have that. Well, you know what? It probably has alligator gar in it, maybe.
Oh, it definitely has alligator gar.
Yeah.
That'd be the worst of it, that's for sure.
Are you sure about that statement, Melissa?
I'm pretty positive.
I'm fixing to Google.
I was just gonna say I can look it
I'll
up. real
Google
quick.
race you. Does Table Rock Lake have alligator gar?
I bet you it does.
Yeah, I bet they do.
I bet.
You see them things everywhere.
Yeah.
There's gar,
I mean-
there's gar and there's alligator gar is a completely different thing.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, definitely in the river systems around here for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Just letting everybody know I do have the invitation link pinned if anybody wants to come in and argue about the alligator gar and where they live.
Well, according to the Google, not alligator gar, just long nose gar.
Don't tell him that. Then he's gonna
Yeah.
think he's being right. See, why'd you open your mouth?
According to
Just
the Google.
lied to him. He wouldn't have known any different because he wouldn't have bothered to look it up.
You can't fool old fishermen.
Hey, Boz,
Uh-huh.
bite him for me, Boz. Get him, buddy.
I just literally walked in the house. I hadn't been in the house 10 minutes.
How'd your day go?
I didn't have a swarm today. It went great.
Thank God.
Or at least there wasn't nothing in the trees. I made one final circle at 7 o'clock and there wasn't anything in the trees yet. So,
Has the ground started to firm up?
you
any?
know what happened there? You know that little, did you see that little thing I sent you that showed you a picture of, hey, how you doing?
Hello there.
You're muted, by the way.
He's a beekeeper.
Yeah, I'm not.
No,
Yeah.
you're not.
How you doing?
I seen
I'm
the two
good.
videos that you sent over, JW. You had some on the forks in the front of the tractor.
That swarm, maybe. Remember I told you I had that swarm in the trees that were way high in the pines?
Yeah.
All right. Yesterday afternoon, right, that one I showed you on the bees all come off the fence post, and I said they're going to the woods, and I'm going to follow them.
Yeah.
They went up real high and went over there towards my round pen.
Oh, they did. Okay.
Yeah, from this hoop building back here.
Yep.
They
Over
went towards
past
the
the pond.
round pen and way high. Well, about 30 minutes later, I went up at the round pen and I had a swarm on a tree up there, and that's the one I think. And I got them boxed there. I got them in that pro nuke, and I've got a regular nuke now. But it's packed.
Yeah.
I'm feel like maybe that swarm. I'm off of that pine tree, and they were starting to settle on that post when I pulled up there, and then they lifted and they went on. I think maybe they might have settled over there by that round pen, and I might have got them back after all. I'm not. I don't know that. It might have been two totally separate ones.
Yeah. So here's a thought that I have, and I would be curious to know what everybody else's opinions of this would be. I think I had something similar to that happen in the past where a colony tried to swarm, and I think they went to another box that was queenless. What are your guys' thoughts? Do you guys think that is possible to happen? And if so, has anybody ever had that experience where they physically have seen maybe a swarm leave a box and then go to another one?
Go to an occupied box, you
I
mean?
have seen that more than once.
Okay.
I've heard of people saying that, but I've never actually.
I've had it happen 2 or 3 times.
Okay.
I had one swarmed and went into an open, totally open, just 4-sided deep box, and set up housekeeping and start making comb inside one of my sheds.
Okay.
I seen them swim. I know for a fact I seen them swarm. I seen the swarm go inside that shed. I just left it to see what they would do. I expected them to leave. They started building comb. They was going to build an open nest in that high box body.
Yeah.
I took them out and I kept them about a year. They finally, and I put them in a 5-frame nuke right there in that box. Took them out of that open frame.
So the 5-frame box you said is full. Are you going to leave them in there, or are you going to transfer them?
I've already transferred them.
Okay.
They're already in an 8-frame. I moved them down there in this hoop yard.
Jumping on me.
Yeah.
Rick
Well,
said,
a lot
Fred
more.
John said that's common in his apiary.
You know,
For them
I
to
was
leave
just
one
talking
colony
about-
and go to another?
Maybe occupy a weaker colony. Take it
Yeah,
over.
like occupy a weaker colony, basically, or maybe one that's queenless or hasn't gotten queen right at that point. Maybe waiting on a virgin to come back, or any number of things could have potentially played out. The only reason I asked that is because when I went yesterday, let's see, today's Saturday. I went yesterday. I was in a bee, almost one bee yard the entire day, working through parent colonies, working through pulling the rest of splits. I had 15
we needed.
that I had to pull yesterday, and I didn't want to leave them set in the boxes too long and the pro nukes too long, even though they would have been in the shade against the fence line. I went ahead and managed some of the parent colonies first and came back and started pulling the remainder of them. Well, I happened to turn around and look, and I seen what appeared to be I'm looking in the air, and I'm like, that seemed like a lot of bees in the air, but they were low. And anyway, to shorten the story, I kind of just went back and forth, and it was along a row. I don't know, there's 25 plus colonies there, I suppose. And I just kind of kept watching them. But basically what I did is I came over and I kept watching the hive. It was one of the splits that I made that was reverse facing on the parent colonies over the double screen boards. And that's one I needed to pull. And I'm like, please tell me you're not swarming out of that box, because I need you. You're fixing to go to a customer, right? Anyway, so I kind of went back and forth and I didn't focus my attention on it. When I walked back over there, I was kind of looking, and I seen a small group of bees sitting on the stand down there, and I looked down, and there she is. There's a blue marked queen, and I reached down and I grabbed her, pulled the cage out of my pocket, put her in the cage, closed it together, and I put her down on top of some frames against the fence line that has some growth on it, so it's real shaded, and thought, I'll deal with you later. I have you locked down. I'll figure out what's going on in the other colony in just a few minutes when the activity settles down. But I think what they did is I think that they left and the queen maybe didn't take flight, or maybe she fell out of the entrance down to the thing and was sitting down there with a small handful of bees. The other one circled back around and then came back and landed back in the box because she wasn't with them. I think that's what happened. But I already at that point had her caged up and sitting on a box about 15 feet away. Finished managing some colonies. When I got down to them, I went through to double check and make sure that there wasn't a queen in there. And as I'm doing it, I took that queen inside a cage and I set her on top of those frames to see what they were going to do. I never found a queen in the box. She had been directly below there. And I'm like, there's no way this queen did not come out of that box, because again, she was marked blue, and I don't have any blue queens inside my parent colonies as of yet. So basically what I did is the activity was good. And I'm like, you know what? You belong here. So I pulled the nuke that I needed out. I left her cage, put the box, closed it up. And when I got back that evening, I released her down into the box and they opened her with welcome arms. So
I'll make a prediction.
Okay.
And you'll see if I'm wrong or not. You probably have to Google me. I'll make a prediction that bunch will be gone within a week.
You mean that queen will leave their box?
Mm-hmm. If they left and come back to her, they'll be gone within a week. I'm going to make a prediction.
Well, I suppose there's always a possibility of that. Right now, she's still sitting behind the shop. So
I could be wrong. I've just had it happen more than once.
Yeah. You're saying once the mind's made up, it's difficult.
Well, and the queen couldn't, for some reason, couldn't fly, or she didn't go with them.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and they came back to the box. If that was the swarm,
yeah,
in that queen's box, and within a week, when they get things lined out and get the queen slim enough she can fly or something, whatever the reason is, and then they'll swarm again and leave.
Well, what's interesting about this is, I'll say this: that queen was introduced less than about a month ago, or slightly less than a month ago.
Something like that.
And she had 7 frames that she filled back up inside that. And within that short amount of time, just under 4 weeks, got accepted and filled up 7 frames inside that colony, enough for them to swarm out of that box after she was introduced no more than 4 weeks ago. She was laying there. When I pulled that nuke out of there and put it together, there was still at least 2 frames of brood left behind inside that colony, and they were pretty full. So that would be a nice split off of that as well.
I'm just telling you, I've had it happen 2 or 3 times, and I may be wrong.
Yeah. Maybe what I should do is hold that colony back, or put it in one of my own deeps, just in case if it happens to me and not someone else.
Well, it'll be interesting to see if I'm right or not, but you know, I'm usually right. Yeah. That's just like the alligator gars, you know. Most of that stuff I know.
Well, here's the deal. You very well could be right, but I'm going to lie to you regardless, okay?
We'll
no, I would tell you the truth if it happened.
Yeah.
I'd give you the credit if credit's due.
DC, we just went to Buffalo Wild Wings. It was on the way back from where we went, so nothing nice, but good enough food.
Nothing nice.
Nothing. It wasn't like a nice restaurant.
I mean, it's fine.
Just a regular restaurant.
Good enough for who it was for, wasn't it, Thomas?
I'm sorry, sir.
I said it's good enough for who it was for, wasn't it?
Hey, you know what? I'll eat it. So good enough for me, good enough for her, right?
Yeah. Okay, I'm going to shut up now.
Hey, it's okay. I see what you're doing. It's all good. I like to poke at her too.
I like me
I'm
some
going to go get me
Buffalo
something to eat. My wife had some brats. I'm going to get me a brat and chew on it while you're talking.
Jalapeno brats are my favorite. Who's that Kodiak Farm Bees guy?
Yeah, I don't know. He just popped in and told everybody hello, like he knows everybody or something.
Who is he? Just kind of pops in like people should know who he is.
What's the beekeeper doing?
I'm working right now, but I was splitting bees last week.
Mm.
I had a question for y'all. I started the spring with 26 colonies, and now I'm up to probably 42 at latest count. So I've been busy. Caught 7 swarms and done a bunch of splits, and it's been busy. We're building a big shop, and I had some bees close by, and the guys wanted me to move them, and I ultimately did. But they were out there banging on metal, like setting plates for the A-frames on this big metal shop.
Yeah.
And we've all heard that you can bring bees out of the air when they're swarming, banging metal together. But has anybody ever heard where banging metal together would actually incite them to swarm, come out of the box?
I don't know about that, but I do know it at the right time, it'll bring them out of the air. I've done it.
Well, they were banging metal together, and I had a swarm come out of a box and light a tree limb right close by the box. I was going to shake them into another box, and ultimately, before I could do it, I didn't want to do it while they were out there working and stir them up. But before I could do it, they flew off. We lost them, but I've caught 7 more, so no shortage of bees this spring. Of course, I lost some honey.
I cannot tell you my experience because I've never experienced that before. But if you'd like to hear the Google version, I can tell you what it says. I'll read it verbatim here. Loud noises can indeed trigger a response in honeybees, including swarming, but it's not a direct cause. So maybe what had happened there is the colony had already made preparations too.
No doubt. Yeah,
I mean,
they were ready, and that just triggered them, I think.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up. I wanted to talk about a little bit of that tanging stuff because I've tanged 3 swarms in the air this year.
Yeah.
They just laugh at me and go on. I might not be tanging the right tune. I don't know.
Maybe you and there you go. Cowbell. You need more cowbell.
More cowbell.
Always need more cowbell.
I know, Mike claims it works, but I've never had any success with doing that. Have you ever had any success, you folks? Anybody?
Tanging?
Yeah.
I know.
First time I ever done it, it worked. So
I done it a couple times in our backyard, but I wasn't really aggressive about it because I felt like a fool banging pots and pans together in my backyard. My neighbors were like, "What's that crazy woman doing?"
That was me the first time. It was back in the probably the early 80s sometime. I had a couple of uncles, one that lived right here next to me, and another one that used to keep bees. And both of them kind of fooled with bees. But anyway, I ran in the house. We had one of them phones in the kitchen of the trailer we lived in. I called him and I said, "There's some bees swarming over the house right now. They're just going around and around." I didn't know much about bees. I grew up watching all these guys rob trees all the time, cutting trees down, messing with them. And Uncle Yvonne said, grab a pot and a spoon or any kind of big ladle, and he said, "Just go to beating on that pot. They'll come down." I thought he was pulling my leg, but I done it anyway. And I ran back out in the yard, gave the phone to my wife. I ran back out in the yard beating on that pot. And them things came straight down in my backyard, landed on my dog pen corner post. And he came up and scooped them up.
I must not have the right pot.
Yeah. It's got to be the right tune.
I've seen my dad. Excuse me.
Why don't you chew that food for crying out loud?
You gonna be all right?
I guess I'll live or die one.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get Boz in there to take care of you.
The last time I done it, we was at my mom's house, and I seen a swarm up in the air. I ran in the house. I said, "Mama, I need a pot. She gave me a pot right quick. She said, what are you doing? And I grabbed the big old ladle or something then. They were fixing dinner. And I said, I got to bring some bees down. And I went out there and started banging on that pot. She come running out there with it was an older model of one of these. She said, use this. Don't beat my pot up. So I started using that old cowbell. It kind of halfway rang, but it brought them down. They landed about that far from the ground.
Huh.
That was on my birthday.
Birthday
Well,
bees.
I had the right
Yeah.
pot. I was beating on the pot with my hive tools while I was using them.
Yeah, it's all worked.
Right above me, 3 different swarms
Yeah.
in the air, and I couldn't. Now, I've seen my dad do it in the past, but I don't know. He might have knew the right tune to play them. I don't know.
The right team. $2-gallon
I
bucket.
was actually going to bring that up.
Hmm.
So, God, you. Yeah, Keith had the same luck I had. He said he tried it too. Keith failed.
Well, I might have just got lucky. I'd done it twice and then got them twice. So.
No. I know it worked. I've seen my dad do it, and I've seen Mike Berry do it, but I can't pull it off.
I never paid that any attention.
I just did it bang, 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 bang. That's the way I done it, but I don't know what beat.
Well, you can't beat a cowbell slow.
Oh, you just rang the cowbell. You didn't beat on it.
Yeah.
Hmm.
The pot, I just tapped on it. I didn't pay no attention to the rhythm I had.
So I'll say this: Mike Berry has a YouTube video up there that says "Bees swarming and tanging, myth or fact." So you can all go to Mr. Mike's video and look at it. It
It's
was
like it's 4
from
years old.
it was from May 14th of 2021.
Mm-hmm.
And he's world famous, so
He's
he
world famous.
I seen Mike do it on that video.
All his videos are how-tos.
Yeah, yeah.
Todd tried pig calls and that didn't work.
The AI version of "Does it work?" Basically, the jury is out. Some people claim it does. Some people claim it doesn't work. So
Yeah. Everybody don't like the same kind of truck. Everybody don't like the same kind of car.
that's right.
DC uses a triangle.
Oh, a dinner bell. That'd bring anybody in.
That got to bring them down.
That'd bring me in.
Some people think there's alligator gars in all the lakes in the world, but they're not.
I agree with DC. Sometimes too much information, and it just gets AI confused.
Mm-hmm.
So the Mr. Terry Chapman's birthday is today from Guardian Bee Apparel. So
Yeah.
if anybody knows him or you're friends with him on Facebook, wish him a happy birthday. I actually had a lot of friends have birthdays today. I always try to remember to do that. If I'm on Facebook or whatever, I try to look up whose birthday it is that day and wish them happy birthday, whether I know them or not.
Yesterday was my and my lovely wife's 44th anniversary.
Well, happy anniversary.
Yeah, congratulations.
Congratulations.
That's getting to be a rarity nowadays, I think.
Yes, sir. You're not wrong. I agree with you.
I
Congratulations.
say this, but you're 16 years behind me.
I'm on number 48.
Mm-hmm.
Wow,
you
Joey,
go.
that's great.
April the 24th was my 60th, our 60th.
Oh,
Send them my way,
Oh.
Westcliff.
actually, hey Joey, I'm going to send you a private message in on Messenger real quick.
Okay.
Check it out.
Are you responding to what's in the chat right now?
Yes.
Is that in reference to that?
Correct. I'm responding to a comment on there.
Yeah, he's always well.
Well, I didn't want to. It's your channel, your show. I didn't want to do that. Hey, Chris.
You see, he's got that wrench by his name, don't you?
Oh, I did. Oh, I do now. Didn't even pay attention. Hey, Chris, log in, man. Chris Medeiros, come in here.
And Melissa, if you can,
You want me to share it?
that flyer, if you can post it, it'd probably be easier for me if you did it.
All right. Well, whenever you want me to do it, I'll do it. It doesn't have to be right
Anytime
now.
you want to.
I'll text Philip and see if he's going to be on tonight first, since it's.
Yeah, I hadn't seen him in here yet.
Yeah, he might be out somewhere.
Well, I caught talking about swarms. I caught a little swarm. I was going to put spun out frames back in the hives the other morning in between rainstorms. I got out of my truck and I could hear it, a swarm, and it wasn't big. I just happened to be right under it. And I got to looking everywhere, and I was looking past it. It was that big. I promise y'all, I could hold my hand up there in the camera like this, and I could block it. And I caught them, put them in a box, and went ahead and done what I had to do. And I come back, there's another swarm hitting in that same place. So I caught it. And when I looked in the other box, it was gone. The first one was gone. They didn't like that box or the old frame I gave them. So I put them in the other one, took the old comb away from them. Hey, Chris.
Leave that noise and see them there.
Can you guys hear me?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
How's it going today, Chris?
Good.
You obviously been hard at work.
Nice day off. Yeah. Repping my nice original, some OG shirts here. You know, we don't get rid of them. So
Yeah. I still have mine. So, I mean, I don't have that one, but
yeah.
I mean, hey, just because something's expired doesn't mean I'm going to throw it away.
Exactly. Yeah.
Man, I got some old shirts I work in around the house. It's like USA and America and all that. And some of them go back to like 2015, 2016. Got the date on them.
Mm-hmm.
Still wear them around the house. I don't throw old shirts away if I can work in them.
You got to wait for them to get holes in them. Then you can toss them to rags, right?
Well, it has to get a pretty big hole in it.
What's new, Chris?
Well, obviously this week the tickets went live, the hotels went live. That went well. We've never done that much all at once, so there was on my end just could have been better communicated certain things. It's just difficult, some people. I took a lot of things for granted, like I had some feedback on the date and the location weren't on the announcement. I just think hey, we've been talking about this for 5 months, but I don't mean to speak ill of the comment. I don't remember her name, but no, I mean that's a good point. I can't take that kind of stuff for granted. So there are lots of learning lessons for me, and I'm pretty hard on myself when it comes to that. I mean, I volunteer in the past, paid now. Last century, there you go.
Let's just be honest. You dropped the ball. You totally screwed up. You're gonna get fired.
Well,
come on.
There's stuff behind the scenes that it's not that. There's certain hotels we put money up front for, that we pay money for and stuff like that. And there's lots of things moving around in the background, and so and it's. You don't want to be cocky and say, "Oh, we're going to sell 500 rooms the first day," and then, but at the same time, when you sell a ton and then you run out of certain stock, and then obviously hotels don't want to just give away their nights away for free, and so a lot of people would love a better discount and stuff, and there's only so much you can do. So
that's right. That's right.
But I see Loma Vista said the LinkedIn work for
Yeah. I
So
was just about to click on that.
yeah, you're fine. So basically, this year we're going through. I guess it's technically a company. It's called Louisville Tourism. They're a group out of Louisville there, and they're going to help us do a lot of really cool things. Such as, in the past we've had 4 to 8 hotels. Out of the block, we have at least 12, and I think we'll have another couple coming on here soon, of varying price ranges. In fact, we'll have one downtown, the Galt. It's a very cool. I've never stayed there, but I've told it's fancy. It's like one of the more historic, neat hotels downtown.
Okay.
It's owned by the Crown's like ownership and everything. So we've had lots of people give feedback that they would love to stay downtown. So we were able to secure a small block downtown. So we'll see if it sells out or not. If it does, they have lots more rooms to take. We'd love to spread stuff out, but I mean, there's only so many people to spread out. So
yeah. So Chris, I have a question for you, like in regards to the Crown. So we've never stayed there, and we're not going to stay there. We have a smaller hotel that we have secured ourselves, just right around the corner from there, basically. But if you can't talk about this, just say no comment. That's all good. I know that you guys had originally secured a block of rooms, and it sounds like fairly quickly, based upon the, me following some of the comments that were underneath the North American Honeybee Expo Facebook page. It sounds like that original block is sold out. Is there a generalization as far as how many rooms a facility will let you block out originally, or is it kind of vary based upon the hotel chain itself? I mean, you probably have more experience than I would have doing any of this stuff, so I didn't know if there's a set amount up front or how that works.
Sure. Yeah. No. You're fine. So it's tough. So Louisville Tourism, by using them, they actually basically guarantee that each of these hotels will not sell a room lower than the price they offer it to us. So they lock in that price.
Okay.
Hopefully you're okay.
That's Melissa.
Some of the hotels wanted to offer an extra early bird special, and some of those were $5, $10, $15 off, but they only offered what they offered. So the crowd, I don't know off the top of my head. I'm not trying to keep it from me. The crowd, all of them were limited. The early bird blocks. So being that we promoted the Crown specifically, those rooms went like really fast. Now the Crown's normal price is still, from my understanding, still discounted to what you would get if you walk in.
I got you.
As any hotel, you can wheel and deal and use points and everything else and get stuff cheaper. Sure. The toughest part is that we're still working on the details for this extra event we're doing. And so the people who buy into the Crown through the block, this came into Crystal Lodge. No, he doesn't. He's asleep. Don't wake him up. The man is driven to Missouri and back. He's tired. So leave Cayman alone. Where's that? Oh, the event. So people who stay at the block through Louisville Tourism, they're going to have a pretty hefty discount. So I'm still working through all of those details. My goal is that everyone who stays through the block receives about 75% off a ticket. Now, this isn't a fancy dinner. This is like social time. The goal is all stand-up tables and finger foods and maybe some light entertainment. And just because we've had feedback, so we're having an event on Wednesday evening for just the vendors and speakers who are in town. Not all the speakers arrive early, but that's just for vendors and speakers. And I suppose the staff will be there too, or whoever's not passed out from wheeling stuff around all day. And then Thursday night, it's kind of a rinse and repeat, except it's with the attendees and speakers.
I see.
We had a lot of feedback of vendors who said they love to mingle just themselves. They love to mingle with themselves and or speakers. And I guess some of the members of staff, Cayman and I weren't mentioned. It was like, Randy and Jeremy Lindsay and, the people who were enjoyable. Our staff. And everybody else. I missed like a whole giant, everybody else on staff besides Cayman and I. That's fine. But those events will be open to anyone who doesn't stay at the Crown as well. But because because the event's being held at the Crown, and the more people we get to stay at the Crown, there's an incentive for us to do that, and that helps us with the food and beverage as well. So, but I don't have specifics on that, so I'm not trying to pull wool over anyone's eyes or anything. So
All
we're
good,
just trying to break even on stuff, because that was a big thing that a lot of people talked about. Is some people don't even go to the speakers at all. They're like, hey, we're getting a flash drive, we're getting a stream. We don't even walk into any of the classrooms. We just want to network. We want to hang out and have fun.
Yeah.
So we want to try to, within reason, have more fun. So.
Yeah. I mean, that all makes perfect sense, and the only reason I asked and said, hey, if you're not busy, come in here. I just thought it might be appropriate. Maybe you can explain some of these details one time and get that across to how many people are in here right now, rather than you going through Facebook and going through every comment where people don't even bother to read the details. And I get where you're coming from, man. It's frustrating at times where you're trying to get a lot of things done, and people are asking the same old silly question because they don't want to bother to read through a little bit further in the context to understand what's going on. So that can be frustrating. So I completely understand where you're coming from. That's why I said, hey, if you got some time, come in here. You can explain some of these details and get through a bunch of it right now. So
yeah, no, I appreciate it. Yeah. So tickets are on sale right now. We called it the Golden Pass, or the Gold Pass rather. And just simply, it's last year's early bird special for the pricing. Same price, didn't raise it a cent.
It's just got a couple more days, don't it?
Correct. Yeah, we left it up for 1 week. So certainly, though, I mean, I won't go through everything. Every single thing that we do has gone up in price since last year.
Oh, absolutely.
Everything. And it's not a sympathy. We need to charge $50 more. Just everything's more. So we wanted to offer, like Cayman said, and of course, lost in all this was Cayman released a video with a lot of these details in it. And that, like, the people who watch YouTube only and don't even have Facebook or saw that, Roy, open bar on Wednesday. And again, if you're talking about the event specifically, that's what we're still working through. So the goal is, again, we're actually going to go meet with the chef at the Crown to talk through it, because they sent us I'm not trying to throw Samantha under the bus, the person at the Crown, but she sent me a food list, and I was like, hey, do you have simpler food? It was all real nice, fancy food. And I was like, I'm looking for
Chris is like, we're beekeepers. We don't, that's
we eat Vienna sausage with hot sauce.
And I was
no, we don't.
I was like, we don't want $100 a ticket. I mean, that's we're trying to make this affordable, especially again if you stay at the hotel. But anyways, so we're gonna go meet with that, and we're talking about, how do we legally handle that? We're talking about wristbands. And if you have a wristband, you can actually buy wristbands that have little tear-off tickets on them. That's kind of fancy. Maybe just give tickets at the front door. I don't know, but I mean, again, we're working through all of that. So that's there's a lot of details there. But Gold Pass, same price till the 15th. And then I think we'll probably just do midnight. That's usually what we do. It'll jump. I believe it's either $10 or $15, and then it won't jump again until I have all this written down somewhere. It won't jump again till for a while. Google Docs.
Well, and I'm glad you pointed that out and brought that up, Chris, because there was a little bit of confusion with a couple people that had talked to me a little bit and said, well, why are they only doing the initial early bird pricing for 1 week? And then I kind of went back and started looking and realized very quickly that price was from last year. And I'm like, holy cow. Yeah. I'm like, I can't believe that price is still the same. It didn't go up any at all. And I'm like, well, okay. So that's the reason it only is for the first week. Right. People can buy in that first week and get it for last year's price, which doesn't happen on any conference or any event or whatever from 1 year to the next, obviously, especially in the last 4 or 5 years. There isn't one single thing that any of us touch that hasn't gone up in price, usually every single year, right? So what's the same to you guys and everything that you guys put on? I'm sure everything has gone up in price. It is what it is.
Well,
and there's
the question was really for 1 week though, but I'm saying they didn't have to do it at all. They just gave us a choice.
Yeah, that's right.
Get them now.
That's right.
You want to get them now, pay extra later. That's all.
And we sent emails out to all of our previous. Some of the loud noise above me. I'm in the basement. That's why I'm relegated to the basement. we sent emails out to all the attendees from the past. We obviously went on Facebook, like all the places where like our fans, Cayman's fans are at. And so the point of the Gold Pass was to get it to the people who have been with us for all 5 years and that kind of stuff. So
Yeah.
but yeah, I'm looking at the schedule, and again, super subject to change. But yeah, so 175 until the 15th, and then until July 15th, it's 185. Then end of November is about 200, 199. Then it goes.
So you still get an early bird even after this week.
Yep. Yeah.
Basically.
And then 1 day tickets pretty much just sit where they are. Chris came in.
So here's our idea, because last year our biggest conundrum was picking up all of our products that we pre-ordered.
Yep,
so we talked about because we have twin boys who are 18. We're like, we should bring one of those boys next year and buy a 1 day ticket for them, and they can just spend that whole day collecting all of our stuff.
Sure. Yeah. No, there's lots of and there's still people who say, well, for 155, that's basically a 3-day pass. And we go, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Buy the 3 day.
Well, what people don't realize is this is a small one, but the program and the name and the list is look at that. Talk about like original. There's an OG one.
There it is.
Like all of these things cost X.
That's right.
And it doesn't matter how many days you're there, they still cost X.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
that's what a lot of people don't realize is like when we buy insurance, when we buy the building and the rooms, blah, 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 all that stuff, it all costs a fixed price. Doesn't matter how many people are there.
That's right.
Or I should say the length of stay of the person. That's what I should say. So, and then there's only a little bit of a debate on it, but we talked through the kid tickets a lot.
I'll bring both of them and rent them out. They're 18. I can do that, right?
You'll probably make your money back on their ticket. Depending on what day you come, you're either going to make some vendors really happy or really mad that they have to hold all your stuff. So
I see Randy's comment there. That probably an inside joke. Last year, I had a bunch of stuff on a cart, and I was going to collect some things. I had like 2 carts back there, and Randy was back there, and I talked to him for a little bit. And I'm like, "Hey, Randy, can I leave this cart here for a minute?" And he's like, "Well, what do I get if I'm watching your cart?" And I'm like, "Well, anything you take off here, I guess is yours. Fair enough, right?" So he was kind enough to just kind of, keep somewhat of an eye while you're trying to collect everything. So anyway,
New York style.
Randy, you're awesome.
To that, there's a lot of logistics, but we're trying to come up with some type of cart holding thing, kind of like a coat check, but for your cart while you walk around. Now the problem is poor John, doesn't want his carts just sitting there for a whole day. Somebody sits them. So we have to figure that out. But maybe even to the point where we just have dedicated. Although we're not exactly swimming with space this year. But because unfortunately we're not able to get any more space, so there will actually be an event loading into the 2 rooms next to us for the next week. The home and the home builders. It's this huge thing. And then next door is actually the home and garden show happening like during our expo, and they will share the main lobby with us. The main lobby, not our lobby, but the main one where we.
So that means parking's going to be fun then, huh?
It'll be different. I'm not sure if it's going to be hundreds and thousands of people. They have these shows all over the country. So I don't think it's good. Like, this isn't the one for the country. They have lots of them. So I'm anticipating it to be more than 0, but I don't think it's going to be hundreds and thousands, but I don't know. We'll find out. So,
you know what? You could use that to your guys' advertising advantage too, for people who have spouses that don't want to come to the beekeeping to say, hey, while I'm at the beekeeping, you can go to the home and garden show. That might be something for.
And I've been trying to find some more details out about it. I think I just need to hit up their showrunners and talk to them and say, hey, if we already have people there, do you want to offer discount tickets or, vice versa, I suppose. So, but it'll actually be a great opportunity to advertise the parking in the back. Most people don't even know there's parking in the back. And I'm not talking the vendor area. I'm talking all the way in the back.
Joey, can you mute him now? Mute him, would you?
So there's lots of fun stuff going on. We have lots of new things that we're trying to do. But getting back to the kid tickets real quick. So it seems like most people weren't upset. There were a couple people who didn't love the idea. We're gonna give it a shot this year. We know some people, we're just gonna constantly nicely remind people, hey, just please be courteous of other people.
Yeah.
We're gonna make sure our staff is confident enough to politely go up to people whose children aren't like acting reasonable. And that's where we tried to play with it. To be brutally honest, the reason we chose the ages was, hey, we want you to want the kids to be there. This isn't like a bring your whole kids and cause a ruckus. So it's like the intentionality behind, hey, you bought a ticket. Because again, if we were, this is kind of a dig at Appamundia, I guess, but if we were like Appamundia and like anybody can come in, I don't think they charge. I don't think there's an admission to Appamundia. At least there hasn't been in the past. And so like imagine anyone in the streets of Louisville walking into our conference and what that would lead to. Holy cow. So same kind of thing with the kids. Obviously, same thing as a one-day ticket. We still have to insure them. We still have to do all that stuff with them. And we already have they're not technically done, but we already have plans in the works to make sure we don't have adults buying children tickets and thinking they can get away with $50 tickets. That's already.
Darn it, DC. There goes that idea.
Yeah.
So, you Chris, you have to give the PR version of what you're saying here, but I don't. I'll just say it flat out. If your kid's a brat, leave them at home because they don't want to deal with them and nobody else wants to deal with them, right? This is no different than this is an adult type scenario. But, again, you guys are allowing the families to come in, which is, I'm sure that was had a lot of decision making behind it. Do we do it? What can happen? What are we looking at? Is this going to cause a problem? Is it going to be good? So, you know what? Just like with anything, make sure they're on their best behavior and not interrupting the classes and things of that nature, which is probably the most important part. I'm sure they can be a little bit silly outside the doors and no one's going to fuss at them. But, inside of a classroom setting,
and it's going to be a whole thing. So this is going to put more, again, like I was talking about with the staff being more confident, being able to walk up to somebody. What that means our room moderators are going to have to be on it more. Maybe we might even have to have a second room moderator. Again, and making sure someone brought up like strollers, Again, we certainly haven't thought of everything, but we've really tried to think through this. This wasn't a haphazard, hey, we can make a couple more dollars. Yeah. Listen, we haven't sold very many children's tickets, and we don't think we will. But it's the opportunity to have that, and this year we'll have like we're calling it like a family room, where it's just like kind of off the beaten path. We're trying to figure out the legitimately best way to have like a private nursing spot for any mothers to bring their kids. So there's having my wife we've gone through that before. And so you can't just say, well, there's a thing in the corner. Like we want to make sure we do it right. That room isn't like just available for anyone to walk into. And so there's some logistics there we have to kind of think through. And my goal is hopefully this goes really well. And Cayman likes to pre-promise stuff. I'll just pre-promise this. My goal is to, because it's hard to do everything every year, but I'd like to have more of an actual, not a NextGen program, but like a actual like kids type of thing. So if your family does bring kids, you can have a couple of things a day. It's not a program, classes and stuff, but just more of an activity room. And I'm sure and confident that we have volunteers out there who have passed background checks and all that kind of stuff as well. And so very unlikely to see that this year, but if it goes well, that would be something that we'd love to do. But we're not babysitters. So in order to do that, there's a lot of logistics there. So we're working towards it. Baby steps. So
So since you mentioned the NextGen program, because we've had just speaking at junior highs and whatnot, had kids ask us about beekeeping. When are you guys going to have information about the NextGen program for next year for applying for that?
Yep. So that'll be live. I'm using, because we've been having to float some dates a little bit, around July 1st.
Okay.
Which is also when, so I'll touch that. So that's when all the details should go up and everything else. I would assume it's probably very similar to last year and years past, maybe some small changes. I don't know how many kids we'll have this year. I don't know the purse strings off the top of my head. Evening Steve.
How many kids were there this year?
I should know that. I don't know off the top.
It seemed like when I seen him walking around, I bet you there was at least probably 30 or 40. Is that safe to say?
Yeah. It keeps increasing every year. And I mean that in a positive way, obviously.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I think it's a great program. I think you guys are doing wonderful by that.
10, 43.
Wow. Yeah.
And their names are right here.
That's awesome.
So,
I think the program's great. You guys have done a great job with it, Chris.
well, I will take like this much credit. So,
well, Cayman or his mom. His mom.
That's what I mean. Well, and see, that's the kind of person I'm looking to find for
Hey, Jeff.
for the kids like the young kids activities. I'm looking for someone who's passionate, who'd be able to safely, contain some kids for a little while. So, I mean, if IKEA can do it, we can do it. Like, I mean,
oh yeah, for sure.
so NextGen will go live around July 1st. And then also around July 1st are applications for vendors. So vendors will go through applications. They'll apply, and we'll basically give them all of the info. So we're working with a brand new vendor as a decorator. So that's the person who sets up the trade show, provides skirting, all tables, chairs, all that fun stuff. And Fern has been our decorator the last 2 years. We're switching to a new one. We don't need to throw any shade. Elizabeth's real nice. She texted me the other day. Just differences, business differences, and how we were working in the past, and that was frustrating to them, and vice versa. So we have a new decorator. It's all good. And so we've realized a lot of cost savings in that, which is awesome. So we're definitely passing that down as much as humanly possible to all the vendors. So they should be able to see that. It's again not free, but certainly a lot of sure, Steve.
I think he would hype the kids up.
I know.
Yeah,
sugar.
He'd bring his falcon. He'd be like have mini falcon ears.
That was backfire.
I think so. I think you're right.
See him carrying a falcon carrying a kid down the hallway.
Right. Only the bad ones, Chris.
Yeah. So, and in the past we've had vendors who've, forgotten to pay us and all kinds of crazy stuff. So a lot of things are being tied up this year. Everything's going to be everyone from speakers to vendors to everyone's going to, well, not everyone, but all the people involved in the expo where contracts are being signed, payments are being done, everything's being legally looked through, all that fun stuff. Because too, if for whatever reason we'd ever have to cancel the show for any reason, an earthquake swallows the KEC, whatever. Yeah. Apparently, well, anyone in Tennessee area got a heck of an earthquake this morning, I guess.
That's what I heard.
Yeah. So it's right when Cayman leaves, the earth tried to swallow them.
Oh, boy.
So anyway, so a lot of contracts going on. So vendors aren't guaranteed. We had 160 vendors last year. We weren't able to secure more space. So,
you say 160?
Yes, that was last year. And we didn't grow a new spot in the Expo Center. So unfortunately, we don't have more space. So
now you're going to have the exact same space as what you had last year or this year, 2025. Is that what I understand?
Correct.
Okay. Yep. Gotcha.
Yep. So we're hoping to try to offer some more classes. Those went over really well last year. Try.
Yep.
Because those are hard logistically. And we've talked through, we have quite a list of cool classes, things like grafting, queen insemination, like stuff that's, you can watch a YouTube video, but maybe doing it in person, with someone with a camera in, and then you can see it up close. And, if I don't know, if Shabu's there, well, whoever's, Corey was messing with drone semen the other day. I'm just making fun of him. But obviously having live bees in the building introduces a whole new thing. So there's lots of cool classes we can do, we will do, we'll figure out. So
We just take Mr. Ed's place there.
Yep. There's again, we're just every year we're trying to, and I hear I'll since Cayman basically said we're going to do it. I had a great meeting with a company who's going to potentially, it's still not a done deal yet, but potentially be where we'll have an app for the show this year.
Oh, that's cool.
On both iOS and Android.
Definitely Android. We don't care about the iOS as much.
Well, that's your choice. I enjoyed my walled garden. My walled garden is great.
Mm-hmm.
It has its severe limitations, but I still love it.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, the app's really cool. It'll allow, what doesn't it do? When we release speakers, which by the way, we have probably, I don't know, Cayman and I've talked probably like 10 brand new speakers that we've never had at the Expo before. Doesn't mean all of them are coming, but like, we try our darndest, Fred Dunn, and his spider jokes, I'm just kidding. No, Fred's great. All of our, and that's the difficult thing is we do our darndest to bring in the best speakers. And if the same speakers give the same speeches every year, people are not going to be happy. So luckily, Bob doesn't want to talk every single time. And so we can move things around.
Sure.
But anyways, back to the, so we'll be able to release the schedule. You'll be able to sort it by room, topic, everything, all different types of things. Then you can actually click on each class and class or speaker, and be able to. You can actually sort them by speaker as well. If one speaker is giving several different talks, you can, and then you can add them to your itinerary, and then it can build you a custom itinerary. And then the goal would be places like, I'll give them a free shout out, the Bee Supply. Good chance they would be back. Someone like that in the industry. They have their mini classes in the expo or the vendor showroom.
Mm-hmm.
The goal would be that those are also on our schedule. That'll be difficult, but that's our goal. And then that way too, you could also schedule even those. So you could look ahead, and then if Fred Dunn's presentation doesn't get copied over right because Chris didn't plan ahead and he was 10 minutes late to his talk, we can actually push out a notification to everyone who has identified that class, and actually a push notification goes out to all those people. If all the beekeepers from Ohio want to get their photograph, we've only heard that announcement 6 bajillion times, that can be a push notification. If you're in a speaker and you want to ask a question, you can put a question in that speaker, and the room moderator can see those at the end.
Nice.
There's a polling ability. Some of these things they're in there. We haven't tested them. I just be caution, like that they all work perfectly. That's like a great ideal world, but there's a lot of stuff like that. I kind of got into an argument with the guy demoing it. Their interactive map is really cool, but where the limitation is that it actually, hey, 21st B, the interactive map, you upload your show floor plan, which is great. We'll have that, no problem. But then every single booth doesn't just like highlight a booth. It drops one of those map markers. And so I was like, well, okay, in our expo, we're stacked on top of each other. You're going to have a heck of a time clicking on those map markers. So you'll have to zoom in, then click a map marker. But if you're really searching certain things, what you can do is then you can actually just flip over to the directory, and all of the different vendors are there, and I believe it even says what number they are next to it. So you can click on 21st B, and it'll pop up and show you on the map where they're at. So there is a nice referral back and forth. So, but this app seems to be really great. It'll actually work both in the app and then also on the website. So I update. For me, it's great. I update in one spot, and it works both ways. And vendors are able to push up whatever they want to, whether that's promotional information, a new flyer. John Hill wants to talk about his extractor again. I was just talking with John. I throw him under the bus. So, that app I think will be really nice and be a great way to communicate. Certainly, we will not stop having signs and brochures and all that won't stop. There's just a lot of things that are very difficult to do without paying a ton of money to have televisions around every single corner, pointing people everywhere. that type of logistics is very difficult and very expensive to do versus, one app that's able to do that. So, and finally, kind of the coolest part, and we're trying to figure out the best way to do this, but the app actually allows vendors to, we can print the, well, here, I'll show you. It's kind of like this actually does, this takes you to Rob's website, the QR code, because he sponsored these badges. How many Hive Life badges do I have? It's like I'm pulling all these. There we go. Okay, get rid of that. Okay, so same thing. This QR code takes you to Rob's website right now, but we have the opportunity that every single attendee's QR code could be individualized to them,
cool.
and you can opt in to that, and it would allow. Steve, I don't know yet. We legitimately don't know pricing yet. But again, the cost on the decorator side is going to tremendously go down. The cost of the booths isn't, because the space has actually gone up. But the to get a table and chair, you get a table and one chair for like $250 or whatever it was in the past. We've been able to get those cheaper. Yeah. So anyway, but the app though, so vendors can opt in, or excuse me, attendees can opt in and scan attendees' badges and basically pull leads that way. And then we can also.
Sorry, we're reading. There it is.
That's what you wish for, Paul. I'll be after you, buddy, with a knife. Big knife.
Wait, look out, Paul.
Crocodile Dundee knife.
I'm gonna sick Jake on you if you're not nice. I'm gonna make Jake Osborne come find you. You might see him coming. He's pretty big. We call him almost bear proof. So you have to ask him.
Brian had a pretty good comment too, Joey.
Who?
Brian, 8:30. Just a few up. He was in reference into the app that I think that Chris was talking about.
Well, the app wasn't a thing yet.
This was, right?
No,
I think that's what he was referencing. Maybe I'm wrong. Anyway, I think the app would be really cool. That'd be a really neat idea.
There's a lot of things to it. We got to flesh it out. But there's some really cool things. We really wanted to talk to help promote some of the vendors. There's a lot of people that go in, talk to 10 vendors, walk out, and they're done. Mm-hmm. What about all the small people that would potentially have great products that nobody ever looks at because they don't know what their name is? Last year we had Gorilla Glue there. A lot of people didn't even know they were there. Now, granted, they were literally the back corner booth.
Yeah.
Granted, but they were back there, and they were talking about their new products and everything else. So, the nice part about the possibilities of a QR code and everything are there's contests. So the vendors can scan badges, and then at the end there can be drawings based on whose badges they've scanned. So there's lots of cool things that we can do. Cayman first has to open his purse strings and let the wizard play with some cool magic. So yeah, so we'll see. Again, that just because if we do purchase the app doesn't mean that signs and everything else go away. That's still important.
Well, personally, I like the idea of not carrying around a program to figure things out. Just pull up the app and click on your phone. That's convenient for me. I would rather have that on my phone than have a program pulling it out of my backpack and going through it, whatever, But
same.
Teach their own.
Same. Yeah. No, Steve, I'll give him a free non-sponsor thing. If you have really dry hands, like real nasty cracked hands from woodworking or anything, working hands, Gorilla Glue bought working hands last year, a couple of years ago. Working hands, you put that on there, your hands will seal back up, no more cracks. It's wonderful stuff. So, but yeah, that's right now. I mean, I just talked for 3 hours. That's all that we're doing right now. It's a lot of
that's
stuff.
It?
But,
I would expect you guys to be busy. If that's it, good Lord, what have you guys been doing the whole time, right?
Well, I still have 4 Hummerbee videos that we recorded that need some TLC, and Cayman's asked me nicely only a couple of times to get those done, and those have The Hummerbee guys are really nice. I just unfortunately fallen to the back burner for the last couple of weeks.
I'm just curious. I mean, and maybe this isn't public knowledge, or it is, or whatever. Maybe it's time it hashed out. Are they going to be present at the Expo this year?
Yeah, I'm not dodging your question. Flower Street, yes. We have a whole plan on all that kind of stuff. On doing better communications with stuff like that, for sure. About highlighting better vendors, or doing a better job highlighting vendors, not just the necessarily bigger vendors who are able to advertise themselves, but the smaller vendors who maybe have never been. We'll skip over the bath fitter that's the infamous joke on year one. Came and let a bath fitter in. I tried to kick him out because I was like, who are you? Like, we don't have you on the thing. Came in like it verbally, like it was a friend of a friend, and he let him in. Okay, getting back to Hummerbee. We want them to be there. That's how I'll phrase it. So when
that's
Chris, I can't think of his last name. When Easy Loader pulled in, Chris Bartel. A lot of names. Chris Bartel pulled up last year, and we were unloading him and everything. like moss to a flame, up pop all the Expo people and like, hey, you can't have that in here. We're like, what are you talking about? It's just a trailer. Well, that's a machine that has a battery, can't be in here. We're like, well, it's like 25 degrees outside. Nobody's going to go outside to see that.
Yeah.
So if you're not familiar, the Expo space it's called the Equip Expo. It's the largest tool show in, I think, the world. Okay. It's wild. Every nook and cranny of that whole place is full, including every single outside green space and most of the parking lot. All demos.
I think JW's referenced that before.
Yeah, it's crazy. We're going to go this year and just get our mind blown with how big it is. But you basically, you park somewhere else and you find your way in. So anyways, so anything with a battery has to stay out. So they were nice enough to let Chris come in, unhook all of his stuff, and like show them and promise he wouldn't rehook it up. So can we bring Hummerbee? We want to. Actually, I was wearing their sweatshirt earlier today. We want to. We got to figure out how to do that the best way.
Okay.
So because again, those are tools that are available to everyone. We talked about in Cayman's video. They still have serial number 1 is still going. So while no one's selling them for $5,000, in good condition, used ones are out there and they're still usable and repairable and all that. So
so it sounds like a rules and regulations thing as far as the Expo Center itself, and having something that has a power source inside the Expo Center.
Yep.
For probably insurance reasons, I'm guessing.
Yeah, they didn't get into it with us, but remove the badge.
So if it's there and anybody's interested in seeing it, they may have to set up certain time frames where people can go out, see it, and not freeze to death.
Yep.
Trying to see it, and get back inside.
Yep.
They could do a booth like we had the restaurants during COVID. The outside, inside.
Yeah.
They can do a heated tent outside.
Yeah. Love that. Listen, these are Michigan people. They don't think it's cold. So
that's right. Yeah.
They're what was it, like almost 3 hours north of me here around Toledo, Ohio. They're like 2.5 to 3 hours north of me. So they're like right in the middle of the mitten. So super, 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 a really, really cool space. It was really humbling to visit and just see, 30 people working their hearts out and what those tools have done for the entire industry. Certainly there are other brands, Hummerbee, certainly there's other solutions, but what that solution has done for our entire industry was really cool to see just one very small factory doing that. So that was cool. That was really neat. So, Steve, you said podcast space. We'll have to just wait and see on the physical space we have. I think there are a couple of rooms we could potentially carve out for that. But with us losing the main space, we have to kind of see, because we're going to have to triple down on people at doors, because now we'll have actual other people trying to wander through. Well, I just want to get to that. Nope.
Yeah.
Got to go around.
That's right.
And we also wouldn't want our people to go through them. So
Right.
Yeah, fair is fair, right?
100%.
So as far as the honey show, are you guys going to do the day before registration for that again, do you think?
Yeah, we're still working through that as well. I'm trying to potentially up the so registration as well as the possibility of like a pre expo pickup for attendees as well. So you can come in and check in the day before, and maybe it won't be at the expo, maybe it's at the Crown. You know, so I come from a running background where you go to a race and you go to the packet pickup and it's at the main hotel downtown, and you go and you pick up your stuff and sponsor stuff's everywhere. I don't know what it looks like yet for us, but that would kind of offload a little bit of the work.
I got you. Yeah.
Plus, at some point, being outside is going to be miserable. It's not like fun yet, but it's going to be like snowing miserable. And so before it gets there, we'd like to try them. And the line is really cool. Everybody gets excited, but like, how cool would it be if we didn't have a line and we still got 3,000 people in? So
I do have to say that line moves super fast.
It does.
It does. But people start staying out there for for like an hour or so before we even start. So like,
yeah.
And again, that's their choice, certainly.
Yeah.
But again,
everybody got through the line fast except me because Philip Morris had my ID.
Yeah, he was giving us trouble at the entrance too. I didn't know Noah's the one that got things squared up. Too bad he's not in here right now.
I think Philip's on the
I think you guys did a really good job last year with getting the honey show thing taken care of and getting it going. I mean, Melissa enters a lot of stuff into that, and that was kind of a blessing in disguise, really. So, I mean, I think you guys did fabulous. And honestly, even when it comes to people getting inside the door, even though there's potentially 3,000 or 4,000 people out there, that line moves pretty quickly. I mean, it's like a well-oiled machine, and that is not an easy task to come by. Getting people in the door, getting them all the things that they need. So you guys had a lot of staff in place. So again, you guys really nailed that down and got it figured out. So job well done, Chris.
Yeah, thank you. It's a team effort, and I don't think the line will necessarily go away. There's people who arrive early, and you don't have to. You're not going to be able to get your stuff and come in, hang out, next. But no. Like, this is literally scan in. Hey, you're checked in. Here's your badge and your pre-bag. And if you want to look through the program a day early, cool. I mean, that's all it would be. And so it would just kind of help. So we'll see what that looks like. Somebody had something I was going to address.
The line kind of gives everybody a chance to meet each other.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Talking to each other out there.
Yeah.
Commiserate while you're out there freezing your butt off.
It wasn't that bad. It wasn't that bad.
We just try to get through. DC said it's beginning to sound complicated just to go. Yeah,
You guys want to remember that January in Louisville, Kentucky, it could be snowing or raining just as well. And standing up in that line very long would be very much fun. I've done that in the past.
Yep. Yeah. And we know we're flirting with. Well, this year we really flirted with some snow. It's one of those things where we're more than aware that if we move it further north, you have a better chance of snow. Certainly move it south, it's less of a chance. But I mean, when you go from Louisville to, let's say, like Nashville that's not a lot. That's not really that much distance between that. Like, if Louisville's getting snow, Nashville's probably getting snow.
Yeah.
Okay, so then you keep going down south. Okay, so how far down do you have to get another major city? Atlanta?
Atlanta.
Okay, if you're in Atlanta, how many people from name every northern state / New England are going to drive down? Because, again, a lot of the allure of the conference is people being able to bring a vehicle, a truck, a trailer, both, a bus.
I would just soon drive to Kentucky as I would have to go to Atlanta. I just don't like it.
Well, no, I understand. I'm just saying, like, it's we hear people that say they want it warm and everything, but it's man, we came and it was a couple of years ago, but we spent like a week calling venues from St. Louis, Atlanta, Columbus, Cincinnati, DC, Philadelphia, Pittsburgh. I mean, we basically the heart of the country. We called everyone, and some places had great trade show space and flat parking. Nope, no place to meet or have any classes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, some places were only classroom, no expo space. If you ever have a chance and you're in downtown Louisville, go to the Expo Center downtown. It's gorgeous. It's super cool. The entire outside of the building is glass. And then the inside are where like there's walkways and walls and everything else is like in the building. It's really gorgeous. Not a single flat parking spot in the city of Louisville. It's all up in garages. And those garages barely fit an SUV up it, let alone a full truck and a trailer. So again, like it's the number of things that we need to run smoothly is a long list. And if we don't get them all, it doesn't matter. We can't sacrifice one thing for another. We love Sevierville. But until they build a second wing for us, if any of you guys can figure out, here's my challenge for you. I'm open to anyone's good planning on this. So if you know the area well, Sevierville is up in the north part, and you have Pigeon Forge, and you have Gatlinburg from north to south there. They all three have expo centers. So if you'd ever been to Hive Life was at Sevierville. Pigeon Forge has the LeConte Center, which is across the street from our favorite hotel, the Black Fox Lodge, run by Jeremy Lindsay. I just call him the owner. He's not, but he's the owner in my eyes. And then Gatlinburg has a really unique expo center. It's like half above ground, half underground with escalators. Very, very interesting. I'll speak for myself. I would love to have our expo go back and be like a split location expo. Don't know how to get it done. I don't legitimately get it done. I'll phrase it that way. We talked about, hey, we'll have the expo at Sevierville and we can do talks here or there. You're like, okay, well, if you drive from Sevierville to Gatlinburg's Expo Center, you're looking without traffic a solid half hour. Solid half hour, no traffic. Which, to be fair, in January is pretty unlikely to get a pigeon, let alone another car in front of you.
Yeah.
But again, that's just not. Yeah. So I'm totally open to any legitimate ideas on because if we can actually split the expo up into multi locations, maybe at like a university or something, totally possible. But there's a lot of logistics there versus being in one room. We have a lot of people who, are in wheelchairs or in motorized wheelchairs, and we're not going to ask them to roll across campus. So there's a lot to it. So unfortunately, well, it's not unfortunately. We love Louisville, but the unfortunate part is right now we're kind of that's our only choice if we want to continue to do everything we're doing right now. So.
Yeah, even when you feel like you're solving one problem, you might be creating two or three other ones that you can't bridge the gap on. So even though people may or may not like that facility, it works. And I'm sure vendors love that space because they can pull tractor trailers in and out of there easily. They can load materials in and out easily. They don't have to worry about going through a city center to deal with it, which is a logistical nightmare if you're hauling any kind of trailer. So anybody pulling a trailer there is going to be throwing hate your guys' way for sure. So there's a reason that place I think works, Yeah.
Well, and to that point is tell me why the Equip Expo, the National Farm Machinery Show, all those shows are all there. Now they're way bigger than we are. They don't sell product, but in terms of being that large and hitting the same type of, reasonably type of clientele, agriculture, farmers, hardworking people that don't live in a big city. Moreover, we're generalizing here. That's Louisville's a great center spot for that. So, Rick, I don't. You'll have to take that up with. Maybe we can make that a checkbox on the vendor in the check-in sheet. Do you accept Bitcoin? You'll have some people. Listen, some people still don't. Some people don't even have a phone number, a website, a social media site, or anything for their business. So some people just literally have an email. There's one person who does that. I won't throw him under the bus. He does great work. If you know who it is, don't shout him out. I'm not trying to pick on him. So, so we're just trying to do the best we can to support everyone. And
so one thing one thing you mentioned, Chris, not kind of changing gears just a little bit on you. You guys mentioned the possibility of maybe doing some extra classes. And I thought that the original thought, and I'm sure you guys are still trying to work through any of this, and maybe you do or don't want to talk about this, I don't know, but potentially offering some extracurricular classes similar to what you had done with the comb class and the microscope class. And you kind of said, maybe we can do this, that, or the other. Is that still a possibility that you guys are looking into, or is that tabled for now? What are your thoughts there?
No, that's definitely that's front on the table.
Okay.
And that's what I meant by like queen grafting and stuff like that. I don't. Introducing live bees is a whole different thing. So don't. Yeah, that's not necessary. That's me talking. I just think for me, the person who doesn't have a lot of queen grafting experience, like getting to see someone do it, and maybe but again, I don't know how we have to do that. Probably like with a screened in type of thing so the bee can't get out.
Mm-hmm.
I don't. And then it's
difficult
in January. How the heck do you keep like queens alive? Like,
well, I was wondering in January, where are you going to get larvae to graft?
Yeah, well, Zach Engelman said he was just going to fly over on a jet and just breathe on the brood for 8 hours. I'm sure he'll see this. Try and knock me out. But no. So yes, some more classes. We don't know what they are yet. But that's our goal, is definitely to have more opportunities for hands-on stuff that people can't see outside of that. And two, the comb cutting class was hands-on. The candle making wasn't. So not that the candle making class was bad. In fact, we got a lot of great feedback in the candle making class. A lot of people really like that. So I personally have been pushing Cayman to do a lot more basic stuff. So in the past, I had done some really easy. Can JW teach a swarm catching class? There you go.
I was waiting for you guys to catch that.
You and Yappy can talk about how to catch a swarm on the side of a tire or something.
No.
But yeah, so we get a lot of now that I see all the questions that Cayman gets every day, every hour. There's a lot of people out there who want. And it isn't to be like looking down at these people, but they get a lot of basic questions and things that even someone of 5 years overlooks now. Oh, well, of course that's you name the dumb question, and you say, man, like that's just that I'm only 5 years in, and I know that answer, and that's easy. But there's a lot of people that come. The number of people in the Facebook group who said that they're like first year beekeeper and stuff, I was shocked. Wow. That means that they probably have never been to the conference before.
Yeah.
And yet they're potentially coming if I tell them what the dates are and the location. So
if you would have added that website link into that post.
Facebook. First of all, the best part was, so I posted it, and I was actually I'm amassing a mass of mead for the expo, because a lot of people really enjoyed my mead, and so I'm amassing a lot. I'm gonna have like a car full of alcohol driving down there.
Oh boy!
So I was actually on my way to make mead that morning. It was great timing. Yeah, do that the morning of the tickets going live. So I see that the links aren't live, and the woman was direct about her feedback on the links not working. And I look while I'm at a stop sign. I look and I'm like, oh great, this is great. So I carry my laptop everywhere with me, because I click edit and it said, you can't edit this post unless you're on the desktop. Great. Why not? Why even have an app on your phone when you?
That's right.
So I hotspot, go on. I'm like, click edit. I'm like, it shows their links. Save. Still not links. I said, okay, I'll reset them all. I'll include different links. So I at one point changed all the links on it. Save. Still didn't work. I was like, well, okay, it's just not going to work. So I posted them in the comments, and that's what it is. So that's another thing I just need to get back to, the kind of the basics, and maybe we release like one thing a day for everyone's understanding and sanity. So.
Well, and on the website, do you guys have like a frequent asked questions section?
Yeah, I was about to ask that same thing.
We do. Yep. We have an FAQ. Now, the FAQ needs to be like every time we announce and update something, the FAQ needs to be continually updated. But
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of stuff there right now. There's probably 20, 30 questions answered on it right now. But it, like that's where like, are there pollen patties? Are there this? Or the like, and we'll add those things as we announce them. Either way. But yes, we do have an FAQ on the website. So
Okay. So people can go there to the website if they have a question. It may be able to get answered at that point without having to direct message you or, things of that nature. You can kind of do a little bit of your own research maybe and find us some questions to these answers. That way Chris can get back to doing some of the real detailed stuff, and people can, go to something that's already been set up. That way it's more streamlined for you. You don't have to answer some of these more menial questions, but yet people are getting taken care of. Hey, go to our frequently asked questions portion. That may get you taken care of right there, So
yeah, and to your point, I'm working on a reliable chatbot for the website where it'll sit on the website and answer the frequently asked questions.
Oh, cool.
Basically be able to pop the answers up and refer them to the page.
There you go.
So we can also, most chatbots also record everything that's said on it. So I can also go through it and say like, oh, hey, Bobby from Illinois really wants to know about something. Hey, we've never thought of that before. We really should do that. So we are every day, we're still trying to capture things that will make us better and make it more enjoyable. We certainly don't have this whole thing figured out. As much as I'm just kidding. Cayman doesn't think that. But yeah, I mean, it's what we're trying to do. And again, just going back, I'll just harp on it again. I mean, I've probably talked to like probably 20 different people in my area in the last like month who randomly, who I'll say something about being a beekeeper, and you guys all get a chuckle out of this. The guy was building the deck of my grandparents where I actually keep my bees, and he was like, "Yeah, you're a beekeeper. I'm really into that. I'm actually I was going to buy the beekeeping equipment off Amazon, and then I was going to buy a package of queens and put them in the hive, and then that attracts the other bees." And I was like, I go, you should probably find a mentor. I was like, that's like a really good step one. Like, listen, like, and the one guy goes, oh, you don't think that's a good idea? I was like, well, hey, some people like burning money and not following stuff. I go, that's fine. I said, and I gave the typical line. I said, you ask 5 beekeepers, the same question, you're going to get 45 answers. I go, so it's like, but what you're saying emphatically will not work.
That's right.
But to that point is, again, we need to mentor everyone in the beekeeping industry. Needs to be mentoring and reaching out to people in our area in a positive and kind way. Not to say that someone's doing something wrong, but the people who might want a mentor and haven't found one are too timid to ask. Because we get all these hobbyists who come in for a year, 2, or less, and they're out and they're gone, and we'll never be able to get them back again. They had a terrible experience. They got stung. You name it.
Yeah,
that's interesting. I love that. Just for my sanity, since it's 10 o'clock at night, can you send me that? Do you have my email? Can you send me that? Do you mind? I'll just write it down too. No, that's a great. And again, we're always doing stuff. I like that.
Yeah, that is a good idea.
Right. For giveaway. Yeah. And maybe it's not 100%. Maybe it's something like that. Yeah, that'd be fun. And again, that's where Cayman has a very specific set of skills. I have a very specific set of skills, which don't include being as good of a beekeeper as he is, or maybe ever will be. But that's fine. Like again, that's why he brought me in. That's why. This is cool.
We all have our strengths and weaknesses. We all kind of have to complement one another, right?
Yep.
You got a very nice haircut this week, Dave.
Oh, thanks.
That's your compliment.
Oh. Gee whiz. Okay. Now I got me that attaboy. Got me that fuel for next week now.
I think it means you have to like tenfold give it back tomorrow on
I see.
One day. I think that
okay. For the next 10 days, babe, your hair is lovely. I just absolutely in love with it. I can't stop looking at it.
Yeah. But yeah, feel free to reach out to me on socials. My email, I'll throw my email in the chat. Join the chat. Hold on, I'll just
Michael always has all those good ideas there, Mike.
Yeah, hell yeah.
That's what I was thinking too.
Make sure I spelled it right. Oh.
That's a good one. Hey Lee, I've been good all night, right?
You still got 3 hours to go, Lee. You never know.
See, if you were in Eastern, you only have 2 hours to go. See, it's great.
Yep.
Alligator gars, yeah. Yeah, those. Why did Loma did you get bit by one? Those probably don't want to get bit, but there's a lot of teeth in that mouth.
Melissa keeps stuck in her pool there at the house.
They keep them in their pool at their house.
Yep, Melissa does.
They're in the hot tub, JW. You're not the pool.
We don't have a pool.
They're in the hot tub.
That's cool.
Yeah. Well, high rollers, them saucepans are.
Oh, you know it.
But yeah, I always try to make myself available for anyone best I can. So anyone ever has questions, concerns, etc. If you've been in contact with Cayman in the last, let's call it 2 months at this point, the poor man has been, you'd say knee deep on like your average person, or maybe like, elbow deep, neck deep. Like he's Cayman, it's like, this is like 2 Caymans deep. On, 2 Caymans deep. The poor man got himself into bees, and he's been selling nukes and singles and every speed bump you possibly could hit in the last 2 months he has. So the poor man is resting. So
was he in Missouri doing the nukes with Corey? Is that why he was in Missouri?
He was today. Yeah. So, and he was
probably drove right by us.
He was supposed to make one trip, and he ended up needing to make 2. There were a lot of things. Yeah, it's a whole thing. Yeah, he can tell. Maybe he can give a talk at the Expo on how not to do things. I'm just kidding. He's gonna beat me up.
It's always a live and learn situation when you deal with that stuff. Yeah. I can't imagine what you guys have to deal with. We had helped to set up a conference that had how many 300?
Yeah,
300 people, and that was like almost a full-time job in my quote unquote off season, which really didn't exist. But I don't. Yeah, I know you guys have a lot to deal with there.
Yeah.
Go to. Continue to go.
Later, Randy.
Later, Gator. But yeah, I won't take all your time. If you guys have any more questions, happy to answer them. Yeah, I'd let you guys get back to your chit chat. I just saw you guys were on. Just figured I'd stop by. Thank you for the invitation, of course.
Appreciate all the info. Anytime.
Yeah. Anytime I can help. Or answer questions or clarify things, whatever. Always happy to jump in. You guys can email me, message me on Messenger, whatever. I'm always available. So, and then since Tom, this is perfect time since Tom and Melissa went away. Throw them under the bus.
I've been trying to go to the Expo for the last couple of years, and I haven't made it, but I'm going to make a concerted effort to be there this year.
That's good. You'll enjoy
it. It's a lot of fun, and sure, I'm biased. I'm coming to this from my perspective as someone who doesn't have to pay for my room because I work it. When we staying at the Crown specifically, I will just encourage you to stay at a hotel that, even if it's not the Crown, stay at a hotel that has like a restaurant and or a bar down there, because that's where at night people congregate, people chit chat. You'll be able to talk to all kinds of people. We weren't at the Crown last year. We were at a different hotel. We were at the 4 Point Sheraton just down the street. And the Honey Show judges were down there, a couple times. Randy Oliver was just sitting at a table with like 10 people sitting around him. He was just kind of holding court. And just, again, those conversations at night, hanging out with friends, people you don't know, etc. I mean, selfishly, I sit down there and chat with the staff. I don't know all of these men and women that well, so I learn a lot, and it's really fun. It's cool, and it's things I take back every single year. So, But yeah, I mean, again, this year specifically, we are at the Crown. It's a massive hotel.
I'm going to try to be there. I really enjoyed the Crown this past time.
Yeah. 2 years ago. Yeah. If the last time you stayed at the Crown was 2 years ago, I'm sorry. It wasn't entirely our fault. We legitimately had no idea that they were ripping the entire hotel apart. Also an optional, but not really optional, fire alarm at whatever time in the morning that was. Last year, I was told, I didn't stay there last year, but I was told it was much better. And I know that there's no construction happening at the, well, again, we're not privy of any construction happening, but they have a brand new restaurant and all that kind of stuff. And that
it's nice. It's real nice.
Yeah, Mr. Red Stuff. No, we don't know who set up the fire alarm, but we actually talked to the fire department about it, and we know indirectly who set it off. It wasn't any of our attendees. So thankfully. So
Jeff Horsoff, I heard, come straight to the chief of police there in Louisville.
Yeah. Well, we're making good connections all the time.
There's a donkey talking.
Lola Vista, we Cayman and I are we're trying to do lots of fun things, and I'll just leave it at that. So I'll never count a West show out of the question. So what that looks like, what that is, no promises, no nothing on the table yet. It's just yeah, you're going to get Chris Durrell. Yeah, Steve, you signed a confidentiality agreement that I'm sure you didn't, but but yeah, we're trying to do lots of fun things. Obviously, not everyone's able to get out to the Bee Expo. Every time I have the privilege to go with Cayman to one of his talks, Texas, Wisconsin, other places, it's really cool and very humbling to see people come up to him from all over the place. Maybe not even that state. Maybe they just kind of came in, and they talk to him and say, "Hey, it's just too far to make it down to the Expo. I'm so glad you came here." He and I both know that, and so we want to make sure that within reason and to the best of our ability, we're able to continue to get out to people and meet people where they're at. So that's my job. So someone had something. Oh yeah, 21st. Yeah. You emailed me earlier. West Coast. Yeah. The fire department laughed when they were leaving that first year. So, but yeah, so that's all I have for tonight. Again, that's all I have for tonight. Unless you guys have. Oh, Tom, unless you ran away. So, event spaces, possible event spaces. So Louisville Tourism has quite the Rolodex and connections, obviously, with every legitimate space in Louisville.
Okay.
And so I already talked to them about several groups, yours being one of them.
Sure.
And saying I wanted to make an introduction and just so Cayman and I have a peripheral idea of what's going on.
Yeah.
I want zero say in anything. We're not.
Understood.
Just so we're aware of what's going on, because a million people ask us questions.
Yeah.
You don't have to do anything extra. I just can see, hey, they picked here, and Craig Midget's group picked here, and just so.
Sure.
We would like to plan something for Wednesday evening.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
So that's where we're...
So this will be like earlier on. So the Wednesday evening, because we don't want to interfere with other ones that have already started a trend at this point.
Yep. Same. I understand. Yep.
But it was great because, the space we had great pizza, had good food. It was not big enough. We were told one thing, it would seat this many people. I have no idea how a fire marshal would have let even the amount of people in there that we had in there.
Oh my gosh.
There's no way. And I am not a codes guy.
We all got to know each other really well that night.
Yeah. So
even if all the tables and chairs were gone, we were still over capacity.
That's correct. Most people were cool to hang in there. And then once things kind of started getting rolling, it was really fluid and it was great. But, earlier on Melissa and I were a little bit not super happy because we were kind of led to believe one thing and it was not such. But anyway, so yeah, finding something that would be cost effective, because I don't want to go out there and write a check for $2,000 on my own pocket for this, and it's going to be, funded by everybody who wants to join in on this, and we're just going to make it a big give back to the community. I don't want to make any money off this. I just want to, but I'm also not going to fund this thing either. So, it's just has to work itself out.
Louisville tourism's nice because they'll help plan stuff. As long as they're let me phrase this as politically correct as possible. From my understanding, as long as they're just like advising things, I don't think their services cost anything.
Okay, understood.
I'll say they shouldn't cost anything.
Okay.
So
let's put it this way: it was winter, and we didn't need to have the heater on. There was so much body heat in there. Did you see Phillips?
I'm reading it right
Phillips. Now. Did you see Phillips, Joey?
I said Spillman's lap. Poor Keith.
Now, did you guys go to the Hives for Heroes event? I heard that was quite the event as well.
We missed that one because we already had previous plans for that evening.
Yeah, we went to the Beaks and Brews with Matthew.
No, that was the night we did our St. Louis people.
That's right. That
was JW's dance night.
That's right. That was a best night. You guys missed that.
That was
awesome.
I heard Hives for Heroes had a very similar situation that you.
Yeah.
And not that it's a contest. Craig. Before even Craig had asked me, I was already
cluster.
Yeah. So, yes. Yeah.
I can only imagine if Craig Midget's involved, and I don't know Craig Midget like that well, but I know him well enough. I'm pretty sure that guy, I can only imagine what he was like when he was like in high school or college. Yeah. He probably got himself in a lot of trouble.
See that?
I mean, in a good way, okay?
In a good way.
Right. Yeah. So he's something else, man.
Yeah. So every day is something new, and we're trying to get stuff through. We're trying to for vendors, we're trying to bulk buy parking passes. So, unfortunately, the Expo Center knows they kind of have us over the barrel on that. We can't really just, park in the lot next door for cheaper. Right. So we're trying to buy en masse. And I was told that we could get discounted tickets that way, but I've yet to receive an email back from them. So, the goal would be that, we try to buy a large number of parking passes in advance, and then we can just pass those savings on to everybody. That's the goal.
I'll tell you what, though, Chris, at the end of the day, this is my thought. If a few dollars for you to park your vehicle is the make it or break it deal, this is going to be a tough road for people. You know what I'm saying? I mean,
sure. No,
first of all, this conference, I don't know if people really understand or have been to other conferences and stuff. This conference, for the cost point, you get so much value, it's ridiculous. Okay. I mean, beekeeping is not a cheap endeavor, so I don't know. I always tell people, Mike, you should never scrimp on the education when it comes to beekeeping, because I guarantee it will pay back dividends for years to come. So, it is what it is. I mean, I think it's cool that you guys are doing all this footwork and on everything as far as trying to get all these savings and passed down and everything. I think that's amazing. But again, at the end of the day, and do we all want to save some money? Absolutely, we do. But, sure. I don't know. At the end of the day, it's only a few bucks to park your vehicle there. If you go to certain hotels, you can shuttle there for free. So there's options that people have too,
Right. And Cayman pays for that shuttle guy.
Okay. Gotcha.
I mean,
yeah. So that's a cost
out of his pocket. I mean, out of our budget, he paid. Yeah. And so again, to your point, I mean, that's free.
Yeah.
Now we've never had 12 hotels, so I don't know how that's going to work this year.
Yeah.
That's going to be a new fun logistic. Hey, he'll get there in a couple of hours. I mean, seriously, we got to figure something out. I'm not sure.
Brian Zavada brings up a really good point. He said, I've saved so much money at the Bee Expo every year coming all the way from Colorado. So if you are a beekeeper that can plan ahead for the year coming, what products you're going to need, everything from bottles, equipment, everything that you can imagine beekeeping, what you're going to need, the money that you could save at this event. Unless you're coming from completely the opposite side of the world, I'm pretty sure unless you're doing one or two hives, you can probably save enough money to potentially pay for your ticket going there on the minimum side. But, shopping those deals that these guys put out on the front side, if some people don't understand or haven't realized that, I'm telling you, that is where it's at. Melissa and I, we basically bought pretty much just about everything that we needed or knew that we were going to use, from consumables. We didn't do a lot of equipment, stuff like that this year. But I mean, I did, and I know Brian figured out down to a detail exactly what he saved on it. I didn't finish all those details on it. I had added things up initially, but I know the savings that I had were pretty significant. Just by, again, thinking ahead, shocking what we needed, talked about our plan, what we were going to do that year, and what our growth was going to look like, and everything we needed. And it just worked out. So, I mean, you can save money if you can start now and thinking about what your next year is going to look like.
Yep.
So there is savings to be had.
And to your point, I might do like a little mini series on what I need to do, just selfishly, because every year we get to the end and I go, shoot, I needed this, and I didn't get anything. And I was like, dang it. Like, hey, John Hill, can you please give me that at the discount price you had it? Yeah, I might have done that. Yeah, and it's, but it's so I told Cayman, I was like, I might do like a little mini couple-minute video, like every couple weeks, go, hey, here's something I'm going to need. Here's a couple vendors who have that. It's like, because I don't want to play favorites.
Yeah.
But one funny thing, I'll toss this in that I realized yesterday. So again, beekeeping for 5 years. So I've had some of my boxes for 5 years, and I painted them all at the time, just the outsides. Real nice with Bear, like the premium outdoor paint, great. And I was cleaning my hives out, or cleaning out the boxes this year, and I found 5.
Hey, Philip, I'll give you more, and we'll split it, okay?
I got 5 of my original boxes, and I don't remember how many I have. I had 25 or something original boxes. 5 of them already have rot on them. Already.
Wow.
Now, and those boxes aren't wax dipped. Now,
Okay.
Funny enough, 2 years ago, so it wasn't this year. I guess it was the beginning of last year. It was like February, March of last year. I took all of my boxes to Cayman's, rented the smallest U-Haul pull-behind trailer, jammed all my boxes in there like an origami, and ran down there. And I wax dipped all my boxes except for apparently like 5 of those. Already starting to rot. Already, the corners.
Wow.
That's
So
crazy.
again, just thinking ahead and finding maybe somebody who has. I'm sure other people have. They use the stuff you can put on the box. What's that other the treatment that you can just dip your box into real quick? Bob does.
Eco wood.
Yep. So not that
Eco
wax
tree.
dipping's the only solution. I'm not saying that. Just I've so far have had great experience with wax dipping. But just planning ahead. And again, I got home and I literally had like 7 things. I was like, I needed to buy that, including feed. So
Yeah.
So
is Thorn a vendor at the Expo? Do they?
he has been now for 4 years.
Okay.
Yep.
I've actually been thinking about buying a wax dipper from them.
This is nice.
Yeah.
It's having used his multiple versions multiple times. There's always little nuances here there, but I mean it's great. It's pretty dummy proof as long as you're not like a complete moron and stick your bare hand in the boiling wax. Like that's. I mean, like I use the nice barbecue gloves you can get at Walmart. They kind of like come up to your elbow. Like now, I don't just like leave them sitting there, but I mean, I get in there and move boxes and everything, and my hands will get like warm, but never like burning hot. So, Cayman's a man. He uses like leather gloves. I don't know what he's wild.
Tom uses welding gloves.
Yeah.
No, they're not welding
No,
gloves. What
they're-
are they?
I don't know. They have they're a thick rubber glove with a light insulation inside of them. I don't know, like you might use. with
Cayman
some-
literally uses like off the shelf leather gloves. I'm like, you're insane. Like what?
Oh, no.
What is going? Yeah.
These are rubber coated, like you can stick your hands in water and water won't penetrate through them.
They're chemical gloves is what they are, Tom.
Yeah. Basically, what JW is saying there. JW, are you using something similar or the same?
No, I don't use gloves. You know that.
You don't put your hands down in it though.
And you mean you're talking about the wax?
Yes, sir. That's right.
I use chemical gloves. That's what I use.
All right, Lee.
I'm letting Donk do the talking for me. I'm tired of looking at you guys.
Well, all we see is a donkey talking, so it's kind of humorous.
You're tired of looking at me. So.
So 21st Bead said, I'm going to pull a 16-foot trailer to fill a product. That is one thing that Cayman and I have had a discussion on one time, which was, okay, so at the end of the expo, we're trying to fill all the vendors back up to get out of there. We've never, until now, because I'm sure I'm jinxing it, we've never had an attendee pull up a semi to take stuff. But, man, if you're out in Utah, I mean, somewhere it's far away, California, and you want to get a bunch of supplies for your club or anything else, I mean, I mean, like you brought up buying Thorn stuff there. I mean, man, if you're buying anything heavy, it is a I mean, that alone will save you the cost of your ticket.
Oh yeah.
So freight is not free or cheap.
No.
Right.
Yeah, we hauled a couple of truckfuls back. I mean, a couple different times.
Yeah, so we're looking at trying to see if U-Haul, UPS, FedEx, those type of things, like, would they bring a booth to the expo? Would they have would they even be interested in that? Would they be interested in any type of discount rating that they could give?
That's
we're
a cool
trying.
idea.
So
Yeah.
we have some other big vendors that were some tool vendors that we're trying to bring in that aren't beekeeping, but I mean, I'm trying to get a hold of DeWalt, Milwaukee, because not every tool is used in beekeeping, certainly, although Milwaukee's pump stick is really cool.
We use a lot of Milwaukee tools when we do cutouts.
But
Well, I watch Tom use a lot of Milwaukee tools while we do cutouts.
How about sweet deals on Milwaukee batteries?
Yeah.
So they were at the farm machinery show, and there's a vendor in Louisville area who came out, and I was like, I'd love to have that conversation and pull in people who do cutouts, people who do different things, and say, hey, what kind of tools? So that way those vendors can come with an actual understanding of what they're going to sell. I don't want them to be bringing, although I mean drills and stuff are needed to assemble boxes, I guess. But I don't want a general thing. I want tools that'll be, So I'm still working on them. And then we're really, really, really hard working on another group that would really be a big deal. So it's out of our hands at this point. We gave them a pitch. Their stuff ended 5 days ago, so on Monday I'm gonna see if they're interested in coming. If they come, I think they'll bring an extra. We're saying 300 to 500 people to the expo. This group, so so we'll see. It'll be really, really neat. Bring something that we've never seen to the expo. Old Dominion. That's an interesting idea. Old Dominion. Yep. Yeah. So again, those are just the little things that we're trying to smooth out for people. People want to ship a box of miscellaneous stuff home. Maybe they have, light stuff, but they don't want to pack it in there. Maybe they have honey that they want to pack and ship back. Okay. How cool would it be if UPS was there? And you're still going to pay a premium because it's UPS and it's $80 to ship a small box, and it just is what it is, but it's done. It's there at the expo. It's done.
Yeah.
So most of these hotels accommodate trailers. If you drag a trailer there, can you park a trailer there, or how does that work?
Most can. But a place like the Crown, who, again, massive hotel, tiny parking lot for a massive hotel.
Yeah.
When someone figures out the rationalization of that, you let me know. But what I would
be sure and put a lock on it for sure. But you can leave them trailers. Them parking lots are huge at the Bee Expo. I mean, they could accommodate 1,000 semis probably in the parking lot there. It's huge.
So
Yeah,
just
so that was
park
my-
that trailer at the Expo parking lot. And
that was gonna be my recommendation. Is just there's around back you can park, and they have full security 24/7 at the Expo Center, like in cars patrolling. And we tested it out the first year. We tried to deliver something really late at night, and 3 cars went flying through the gates. We didn't like break any of the gates; they just didn't have them down. We flew through the gates. We had our keys. We let ourselves in, and security pulled up like Need for Speed, like slid into the thing like with their lights on. It scared the heck out of me. And they were like, they just took our IDs and they're like, oh yep, this is the showrunner. So they did really check stuff out. So I'll never promise that nothing can get stolen. Unfortunately it's a large city, stuff happens. There's stories both years. We've been in Louisville of people's stuff getting broken into, stolen, catalytic converters. So in various locations. So it hasn't always been one spot.
it's just like everywhere.
Yep. So unfortunately, our coffee guy, Sean, he was staying in an Airbnb last year. They broke into his trailer and stole his entire electric panel out. It's like a sub panel he used for all of his coffee stuff. So no joke, only Sean would do this. He said, "Okay." So he drove to Home Depot and rebuilt the entire thing in the parking lot.
Wow.
Yep.
Right.
So yeah, I don't want to sugarcoat it and tell you that a big city doesn't have problems, but we do the best we can. But yes, keeping a larger trailer at the Expo Center with your truck or whatever, getting a ride, totally fine. So
Yeah, be sure and lock it. I'm gonna bust your bubble just a little bit, Chris. I showed cattle down there for several years.
sure.
I got robbed. They got me for 3,000 one year, and they got me for about 2,200 the next year. But I'll tell you who it was. It was inside security. I'm sure it was. You never could prove it, but it was the people who were supposed to have been watching your stuff inside. I'm sure they made some improvements to that, Chris. But you can get right. That's why I told him,
Yep.
you can bring the trailers, but even on my stock trailers and stuff, I had every door, with a padlock on it.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And you can park. There were a couple different people who parked like close and backed up to each other and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
like for Cayman, I would always just park behind his trailer, so they could break into his trailer, but they couldn't steal it off his truck.
Yeah.
Like just try and do what you can do. So
Take the tire off the trailer. Throw it.
I think it's better now than what it was back then. That's been
sure.
good
Well,
10 or 12 years ago with my last time I actually showed there and had stuff there. But
there's been some weird things that I've been told. I won't repeat because I don't want to scare people, but I was just like, what? Like, really? So, but the one positive we have is it is in January, and so you don't get as many people out loitering and doing that kind of stuff. Not that it's not happening, just not as many as there would be in the summer.
no, I don't. I think it's basically safe, but I wouldn't take it for granted. I wouldn't just pull my trailer out there and leave it.
Right. So
Well, I'll put a heavy duty hitch lock on it.
yeah. But yeah, there's no problem. And there's
leave them right there in the Expo parking lot. If you like to go in there, if you got a lot of stuff. And that's what I would recommend that you do, rather than put them in a motel parking lot, because they won't have the security that they have there. And that place is all enclosed. There's a fence all the way around it. I mean, you got to go through gates to get in it. That's the reason I suggested my problem. And it wasn't just me. There were several others. It was the inside security folks that was taking people's stuff. And that was all stuff that could be carried. It wasn't, but that's
and if you drive in once and leave your car and drive out the last day or whatever day you decide to go, you pay once then. You don't pay every single day you're in the lot. So as long as you're not coming and going, you're good. There was one other thing I said. Oh, and just in case you think about because they don't keep the arms down. They have the ticket booth. They have a ticket booth. They don't keep the arms down between. You just pull up and pay. There are cameras everywhere. So there were a couple people who just drove through it the first couple days. Yeah, they were they got some nice serious threats about that. So just please don't, anyone who's watching now, please just don't run the ticket booth. That's not great for you, not great for us. They'll probably just tow your car for you, and that's a lot more than just a parking ticket to get in. So
the ticket booth people on the last day, we gave the lady in the ticket booth we went through some honey.
Oh, cool.
She said that was the first time anybody offered her any honey. I'm like, are you serious? There's been thousands of beekeepers coming through these lines every day for 3 days. Bring little bottles of honey to give those ticket booth people.
Yeah.
They'll love it.
Who knows that generosity could go a long way in some form or fashion, you know?
Yep. Well, the the first official day, I think, they were for the first year they didn't have anyone there. If you came early, like vendor early, no one in the booth until 7 or 8. But then last year they started getting there 6. So that first day I heard it from every vendor. I thought parking was free for vendors, and I was like, no, you're just lucky they were never charging.
Yeah.
And somebody stopped and asked the attendant, what are you guys doing? Why'd you change? So well, we heard that the vendors get here early, so we were told we have to get here early so we can make sure we get all the vendors. So listen,
They caught on.
Just what it is. So
yeah.
Cool.
Sounds like you guys are locking it down and things are going okay, and still got some new things to come down the pipe.
Yes, yeah. Hopefully some really cool announcements, and they wanted to catch the vendors. Yeah,
Chris, we'll have to talk again because we've had many people out of some of our group that said, hey, it'd be really cool to have a hangout spot. And I realized that logistics may be a little bit tougher this year than in years past because space is already locked down to what you guys are going to have. But maybe keep that in the backside of your head, and we can talk in the future and see what that looks like. If we can somehow, I don't know what that would be. Open to ideas, suggestions, anything, but some type of a little, I don't know. Just
wow space.
It's not somewhere that we're going to be selling stuff. It's just a spot that we're all going to, whatever you want to call it, a landing hub or whatever. I don't know.
Okay.
So
we can chat. I mean, last year we had, there's 30 docks on that. If you go all the way down, 10 docks per room. We will have 10 docks this year. And at one point last year, we were using 25. So don't know how that's going to work.
Yeah. Yeah.
We'll see. So Westcliffe's asking about the lobby. So basically the only thing that we will share is where we do the check-in at, which is that the giant atrium. We'll still have the room for check-in for honey. We'll still have all the classrooms, all that space. We'll have all that. But we're trying to figure out when we should be able to, which is have, our booth, our Expo booth where it's at, our little office workspace, the tables out there were a big hit last year. So. So we're really trying to make sure we're maximizing space. That's
I can see
not that we really waste it in the past, but now we're hey, we need to expand, and we have the same amount of space. So
right,
so
makes things a little more difficult in some ways. Well, good. It's nice to hear things are shaping up and moving on. It's already. I can't believe. I feel like we just got past, this year's Bee Expo. And here we are. You guys are, I'm sure you guys probably took just a little breathing room and then went right back into it, just head deep, neck deep on this stuff.
Yep.
2 Caymans deep.
2 Caymans deep.
deep.
Chris's words, 2 Caymans deep.
2 Caymans deep. Someone asked me the other day, they were going to pick up bees, and I was like, hey, it's rain or shine. And I was like, if you have to, wear some rain boots. I said, some people call them rain boots, but for Cayman, they're full zip waders.
I bet those jokes never get tired with him. He just absolutely eats them up, right?
No, because he gives me stuff right back. Luckily, it hasn't all made it onto the web yet, so we'll hopefully keep that all offline.
That's awesome.
Yeah, well, and February 11th was my last day at Marathon, so it's been a whirlwind since then. So,
wow. Hopefully,
I think it's been great. It's been great. lack of a lawsuit with Cayman's former partner has really alleviated all that fun extra time. I mean, like I have an entire drawer of my desk dedicated to that. It's a whole thing. So yeah, now that's all gone. I have lots of extra time. So
Good deal.
Yeah, no, it's fun. And again, like this is me calling, shaking trees, and getting stuff done that that they just weren't possible in the past. So
yeah. Well, you guys can dedicate your valuable time to things that count rather than trying to fend off nonsense.
That's the goal. So for sure.
Good deal. Well, we're happy you guys got stuff locking down there, and
thank you.
Thank you for all the work that you guys are doing for this. And it really makes it enjoyable for all of us to come there and hang out. Just even though it's only a few days, but I don't know, it's definitely fun. and for Michael down there in the comments, you're absolutely welcome to the Wednesday night party. Okay, absolutely welcome. Hopefully you can make it, but I don't know if typically you guys are usually loading in at that point in time, but in the evening we're planning on doing something on that Wednesday evening. Don't know where it's going to be at and exactly what that's going to look like specifically, but it'd be really cool if we have enough space. I want to say it'd be really cool if we had at least for 100, maybe being optimistic, maybe 150. And we're just.
What did we have last year? 50.
There was 50 tickets because yeah.
And I know there was more people that kind of wanted to come and get in and things of that nature. Some people aren't in town.
There was 50 tickets. There was actually only seating for like 30.
I think there was only seating for like 20.
And then we squeezed everybody in somehow.
Yeah. Good Lord. It was tight, but it worked.
Tight cluster.
Brian Zavada says 150.
Somebody said earlier.
I think that would be easy to do, Brian. I think we could pull off 150. I really do. Now that I think a little bit of word got out there and some traction's built with that, be happy to try to help.
And the tickets were real expensive last year. Free.
Yeah. Just ask for donations to cover the room, basically, is all we were looking for,
Yep.
Count me in.
Yeah. One of the free things you would potentially get that weekend, right? Even though everything has a good value attached to it, in my opinion.
See, that's where I got confused, because when we were buying or purchasing those free tickets online, that's supposed to have been telling those people how many's coming.
No, that was just for me.
Oh, that was for you?
Yeah, that went to me. But when I reserved that room, I told them, I asked them how many people that room can hold. And they told me they actually told me, I think, between 50 and 60 people. And so I said, okay, so I can do 50 tickets, 50 people. And they're like, yeah, that's fine. And so I was like, all right.
Apparently they don't have a fire marshal there, nor does he have codes, which I highly doubt that is the case.
And then I had to call them like 2 weeks ahead of time to give them our final head count. So, okay, I had to call them 2 weeks ahead of time to give them our final head count so they could staff the room, which I stress staff because everybody who was there knows we had one waitress for that entire room.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and she did a phenomenal job.
She did. She worked it.
But one they staffed it. I mean, if I wouldn't have told them, would they have given us no waitress? I don't know. But yeah, it was fine. It was good. We had a fun time. But we have to move though, unfortunately.
But that's all the stuff that, again, you don't see or get without coming. So, that's why I think it's so important. We try to, like, people have asked for dunk tanks. People have asked for mechanical bowls.
Yeah,
so I hear it. We're trying to get it back to fun.
I'm sure they could find something like that. I kind of get the dunk tank. But the bull thing, I think you could go somewhere else in town and find out.
Yeah, I'm sure. Well, there's a lot of people you could put in that dunk tank and make.
Oh, the parking was something else.
Yeah.
That's our waitress right there. She was awesome.
That was our one waitress right there.
And we're not talking about Charlie.
Not talking about Sawmill Charlie. That gal right there. She was a bundle.
She did a great job.
She did a great job. We thanked her, gave her some bottles of honey and everything, and she was ecstatic, and she just had a really good disposition about her. So, yeah, it was fun.
I'd pay for dunk tank. Yeah. Well, and there's lots of, and again, we've talked about like honey eating contests,
Yeah.
or like hot honey eating contests, like all the cliche things. We've talked through it. Again, we don't want to just throw everything against the wall. We want to make sure I'd fly it across the country dunking. Yeah. See, a lot of people would. Photo booth, we're trying to come up with a really nice way to do that. He's gonna kill me if I can't think of his name.
Mechanical bee.
Yeah, there you go.
No, who did in the past? Maple Bend Bee Supply. It's like totally blank on the name. They helped us out with a photo booth in the past, and they weren't there last year, right? They weren't there. I don't think they were there last year. Every year blends together. I don't think they were there last year. So
take with sugar syrup.
I didn't see them there.
Yeah, insurance nightmare. Yeah, yeah. So what some people don't understand is if you have like a sport implement, let's call it a Nerf football, and someone picks it up and throws it to someone else, that is considered a sport event, which is a entirely new set of insurance guidelines and recommendations and mandates. So dunk tank. Man, he's gonna kill me. He's gonna be like, "What'd you promise these guys on this dunk tank?"
We just had to have a toss the hive tube contest or something.
We've talked about it. We think that'd be that would be like a real fun thing. We've talked about that. We're but yeah, sounds expensive. Yeah, everything is expensive, Steve. Everything's expensive. So. But yeah, I gave my email earlier. I'll type in chat again. Feel free to reach out to me nicely, please. Any suggestions, thoughts, whatever. Always happy to get more information. So, Melissa, real quick before I go, you were talking about the Honey Show check-in. So just walk me through. I know everyone's different. Walk me through why you thought the check-in process was successful last year.
Well, so check-in when you're entering multiple items into the Honey Show takes forever.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of prep work when you get there, because you have to wipe fingerprints off everything. It's very time consuming. And a lot of there's over 1,000 entries, so it takes a long time to check in all those people. So allowing us to check in the day before, that was amazing because you didn't miss out on anything during the conference by checking in the day before, especially like I said, if you had multiple items to check in, that's even after you clean all your fingerprints off and make sure everything's perfect, just entering in your things with the secretaries takes about a half hour sometimes, again, depending on how many items you have. So being able to do that the day before was amazing because it didn't take away from your time at the expo itself.
Yeah, and we're just trying to understand it.
Now, I would say in that the only thing I would say when we were checking in, there needed to be more chairs for people prepping their items to sit on.
Okay.
That was probably one of my only things that I noticed in there. And sometimes I don't know. That was probably my main thing.
Here's a question for you. So as someone who's never entered the Honey Show for 6 million reasons, just pure chaos first and foremost. The way we did it last year, you prep it all at table, then you put it all back on your wagon, box, whatever, walk it over to the judge and or wait for a judge. Is that a good system, or should the judges be walking around to you?
No, that's a good system because it would be too chaotic with the judges walking around. There's too, you really need to sit down with the judges and do things in that way. The only thing that would make it because some people don't have wagons or whatever to carry all their things. If there were in the lines, like tables that they could set their things on and scoot them down the line with them as they, advance in the line. But yeah, I guess the only thing that I think that you could probably add is, like I said, more chairs, or if you could fit more prep tables in there, more prep tables. But yeah, I think the way that you guys did it worked out pretty well.
Okay. Because I thought about the possibility of if we could have prep tables out in the lobby area because we don't like there's not a lot of people in there yet. It's just the honey show.
And that would be nice too, because.
But then how do you get, like I was thinking all prep tables out there.
Yeah.
And then that way you go into the room.
And that would work. And that would limit the amount of people that are in that room too, because again, it's a room, so it's going to get hot in there. The more people you shove in that room, and it gets a little bit congested. So yeah, if you could put the prep tables out in the lobby, that would actually, I think, be better than inside, because that way it cuts out of congestion. Because when those lines get long, it does get kind of congested because the prep tables were all along the side walls.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that would potentially give more room in there and get more people would be able to prep at one time.
Because when you prepped your 1 item, 5 items, 10 items, is there a limit? Is there limits?
No.
There's no limit, right? Well, 1 entry per category, right?
Yeah.
Okay. You entered the most categories. Did any judge do any category?
What do you mean?
So if you had honey, creamed, candle, photograph, just quick things, and you went to judge A for all 4 of the 4 or 5 of those things, right? You didn't have to go here and here and here and here.
No. So the way that you do it is the way they did it last year anyway, is you prepped all of your stuff and you don't talk to, there might be somebody at the entrance like guiding you where you need to go if you need to prep or just get in line. But once you get in line for the judging, they had it in lines of, do you only have 1 to 3 items? Do you have, 3 to 10 items and 10 plus items? So they had specific lines for how many categories you were entering to kind of make the flow go a little bit faster. But you only talk to one secretary, and she signs up all of your items for you.
Okay.
So you go through the line, you sit down with that secretary, fill out all the paperwork, put stickers on your items, ID stickers on your items, and then the stewards will carry it over to the showroom.
Okay, we're just trying to understand things and make things as slimmed down as possible. And if we need another classroom, what's that look like? So just
yeah, I think the way that they signed everything in was pretty good. I just think that the prep area, if you guys put that out in the lobby or there was more room for it, that would probably be beneficial. Are you leaving, JW?
Mm-hmm.
He's like, you guys are talking honey show. I'm out of here.
He turns into a pumpkin at 10.
No.
He's gone.
Boom.
That's his exit.
Okay. Yeah, we're just trying to get. I got a lot of feedback. That's the word we'll use on some of the rule changes, such as 3D printing items and such. I've heard all about that. So those type of
Which their rules have absolutely nothing to do with you guys. You basically just get to pick the categories, and then they have their own criteria that you have to meet, in their rules.
But like I told Cayman, similar to the couple suggestions about advertising smaller vendors and all that kind of stuff. Same thing with the honey show. Again, as someone who's never entered, I can read the website and read the 6 billion rules. Mm-hmm. But as someone who's never entered, what the heck is the difference between this jar and this jar and this? Yeah, like a picture's cool, but when you walk into Tractor Supply and you buy a jar and it's not labeled with, the terms that the honey show judge uses, how do you figure it out? Now, you can't answer everyone's question, but if you can, have little shorts, and that's kind of what Cayman and I are trying to work through is like, maybe Cayman and I make them and then make sure that the honey show judges are like, that we're in congruency, because it's not necessarily good to ask the honey show judges, we need you guys to make 40 prep videos for us. Like, okay, that's our job. And again, it's something easy for me to do because I'm an idiot. I've never done any of this before. So, putting saran wrap over your jar, like all those little things, those are like, those
are insider secrets, Chris. Be quiet.
Really? But see, I mean, those are little things that like I would go a long ways. And like any rule changes that have happened, again, like that 3D printing thing, which is a nightmare. We need to be communicating those better to people out front. So
I know the honey judges, they're going to tell anybody who asks questions, read the rules, the rules. Like that's.
And that was the crazy thing. So I heard from 2 different people last year at the conference about the 3D printing thing. I was like, I don't know anything about it. I don't read the rules. I post them on the website. Like, there's a lot of rules.
Because every
21st Bee, I don't know. Probably not. It's Mother's Day. I'm just gonna say probably not. He's done with bees for a little while, so we'll probably jump back on the wagon next week, I guess. The 3D print. So anyways, 3D printing. So I took one of the I don't want to name names. I took somebody over. I was like, come with me. I drug them with me to a honey show judge. And I said, hey, this person said that the rules changed. Can you please confirm that? And they're like,
yeah.
No, they didn't change. And the person was like, well, the rules say they did. And they're like, no, they didn't change. So they entered the product. And guess what? They were eliminated because the rules had changed. And the secretary didn't know. And I don't want to sit here and point fingers. That doesn't do anything. We need to, any rules that do change, or better yet, what were all the rules that people had problems with last year? Let's address those. Because the honey show should be a celebration, a fair contest, everything else, versus like we got you. Like nobody's going to come back if there's the got you moments. That's not fun at all. So, So I have a very long list of things that we're working on.
yeah, I bet.
But again, not complaining at all. 0 complaints. I love this. It's fun. I love the challenge. I love getting feedback and trying to help people have a better time than they had the year previous. So that's my goal. So and hopefully have, again, volunteers like Steve and Randy and all those guys, men and women, come back and because they had fun and they want to be a part of the team. So that's always our goal. So it's almost like a full-time job. Yeah, it's great being able to focus on just this and not go to work at Marathon and, maybe work half the day at Marathon on stuff as well. Is there a statute of limitations? They already paid me out my final paycheck, so it's okay. So, but yeah, so it's, being able to focus on this full-time is, it's fun. So yeah, for sure. So I'll let you guys close it out. I don't want to close out your stream, but I'll duck out now. So thank you guys as always.
Appreciate it, Chris.
Appreciate you coming on.
Have a good night. I'm gonna hit the sack. I was at a garage sale all day today, and we're gonna have day 2 garage sale tomorrow. So
something new comes up, come on and see us.
Oh boy.
Okay, we'll do. I appreciate the invite, and if you need something from me, reach out to me. I'm always happy to hop on if I'm nearby. So
thank you, Chris. I appreciate all your help, man. Appreciate all you guys' hard work too.
Yep. Thank you for the support and seeing all you guys. And it's, we don't have anything to do if people like you guys don't come. So we appreciate the reciprocation. So you guys have a good night. See everybody.
Thank you, Chris.
Night. Thanks. So does anybody want to talk actual beekeeping now? JW.
So I got a question for y'all. When I first started beekeeping, I did inner covers, telescoping covers, that whole thing. And there's nothing wrong with that, but I'm trying to grow my business. And standardize everything. So I was watching Bob Benny videos, and he does all these bottom boards and telescoping covers and double screen boards with HDO plywood. And it's really expensive stuff, like $138 a sheet or $130 a sheet. But it's probably worth it.
If you can find it.
Yeah, well, I've got a source for it. Plywood Company of Fort Worth has it. So, but there's also an MDO plywood, and I'm just wondering, the difference, if anybody has any experience with that, and is buying HDO plywood worth the extra cost? And also, if you were to wax dip it, how would it handle wax dipping being a plywood?
Yeah, I have a limited experience with that, but I can share what I know. So I ironically just recently found my brother-in-law is a developer, and I had contacted a handful of semi-decent, and just for reference, I'm here in the St. Louis area. So I'm about 35, 40 miles outside of the city of St. Louis. So we're in a fairly populated area. Or close to one anyway. So there's a lot of resources available. Anyway, he was able to locate some for me through one of his large lumber suppliers.
MDO or HDO.
And speaking directly about the HDO. So I have secured some, and I've got an order coming of, I don't know, I think a dozen sheets coming this next week, being shipped straight to my house. And so I'm going to start utilizing that myself. And I'm talking specifically 3/4 inch. And I'm going to mimic some of what Bob Benny has done, because I did buy at our conference at the Eastern Missouri Beekeepers Association back in February. Bob gave me a nice little deal on a dozen migratory lids, because I too, because we're running so many colonies, was looking to simplify our operation, but also create the most cost savings with the equipment, but standardize everything too. And that's what I've been working on the last couple of years. I have a handful of things that I was parting with this spring on Facebook Marketplace that are still perfectly usable, but I want to have everything same from Hive 1 to Hive 200. I don't want any differences in them. I'm going to keep all standardized type equipment. And so anyway, basically the short of it is, I have started to use a little bit of the HDO stuff out in our operation, because I too have been using intercovers, telescoping, but we all know that those are expensive. The more pieces of equipment you have, the more you have to haul, the more you have to keep, the more cost it is, et cetera, et cetera. So the least amount of pieces of equipment we need to keep a hive inside, and doing well, the better off we are. So going back to JW's little beware of MDO, his experience has not been quite the same as mine, but I'm not going to say he's not wrong here. MDO does not hold up the same way that HDO does. I do have some HDO out in the field, but I only have it for feeder shims basically. And for reference, I use a Man Lake top feeder, which has the trough style. So I have about a 4-inch. Basically, in short, it's a small box or a rim that goes around that the feeder trough sits inside of, and I have them made out of MDO. Now, I did paint the outside of them with one coat of paint. I've only had a couple of them do some weird things on me as far as like trying to delaminate a little bit. Like I'm talking like 2 out of maybe 100. But also, I'll also say these are not out in the weather 12 months out of the year either. I did leave them on all winter long and pulled the inserts out of them and used them as a shim and put fondant up there because I was lazy, didn't want to pull them off, and it worked fine. So I don't think that MDO will hold up the same as HDO. I do think that for the cost, in my opinion, and I don't have long-term usage on that, but what minimum I do have, I think that the HDO is a better value for what it is that we're doing. And just for reference too, I used birch HDO plywood, which I think is a better quality than some of the others. And I've too found it for about $135-ish a sheet to my door. So
I think Plywood Company of Fort Worth has it like $131, $132 a sheet. But
yeah, which is pretty reasonable. I mean, that's somewhat standard. And I was kind of figuring that that's my cost after tax too and such. So it was about $135, I think. So we're about the same. And it is a little more difficult to find, but I'm going to start making my own too. I'm going to make my own shim boards. I'm going to make my own migratory covers, and I'm also going to start with 1 yard where I'm going to build 16 two-way pallets, and that's all I'm going to run in there. Is I'm going to simplify that equipment over there. So here, as soon as I get it, hopefully within the next couple months, I'll build 16 two-way pallets, and I'm going to use one specific yard I already have lined up that we're going to put all this equipment there, and that's what I'm going to start by running it to see what I do like about it, what I don't. And I'm going to use HDO for my lids, my shims, and also the bottom part, the bottom board of my pallet, basically.
Right.
So we'll see how that goes.
I haven't quite gotten to the pallet stage, but I'm certainly going to build a bunch of the bottom boards like Bob had in one of his videos. I think those are really nice and they'll last. And I will, I hate painting.
Yeah,
that was my other question about dipping them with wax, how they would handle wax, or if.
Yeah, that's a good question. I built my own wax dipping tank, I think at like year 2 or 3rd year. I can't remember, but I'm the same way. I absolutely despise painting. I am not going to pull equipment out of the field and paint it every 2 years or 3 years, whatever that might be. I wanted it to be one and done. So I put the investment into building a wax dipping tank and the wax itself. And I've been wax dipping equipment ever since. So I have minimum equipment out there that is
I think
just,
we only have
just
2
painted.
years. I think we only have 2 years worth of equipment that's just painted.
Yeah. So, and actually my goal actually, and I told Melissa this, before that equipment starts to age out and becomes completely useless, my goal is actually probably to, as of next year, I'm not going to do it all at once, but I'm going to start phasing some of those pieces of equipment out of my operation, and I'm going to do it with bees in there. So I'm going to sell off whole colonies in this equipment and phase that out. So again, I'll only, at some point over a couple of years, I will only have, and we run all 8-frame equipment, double brood box method, a couple horizontal hives at our own house just for more novelty than anything. Our mating nukes and stuff like that are a little bit different, but all of our stuff is 8-frame equipment, and it's virtually, for the most part, most of it is all wax dipped.
I've got a lot of.
We had a kind of a sideliner between sideliner commercial beekeeper come talk at our club a few years ago, and he uses the HDO for lids. I've got some of Bob Benny's, and I like them. I really do. I got some of his bottoms and his tops.
Mm-hmm.
And really all you got to do is paint the edges, according to him. But this commercial guy, commercial sideliner, he had brought one of them to show us, and he gets his from a concrete guy. Mm-hmm. After they use it so many times, they just discard it. They don't try to use it for forming board again. Mm-hmm. So they discard it and sell it for cheap or cheaper. And he gets it like that. He said when he used to get it, he'd cut it to fit for tops and paint it. And he said he got lazy and never did. He quit painting them. He said the one he had brought wasn't painted. And he said he's had it for several years. And he just never painted it. He just cuts it to fit and throws it on there. So.
Yeah, I know there's a lot more resins, and I think it's under a different pressure that the HDO is put under than MDO. Now, yeah. I don't know all the subtle differences in the process of which, but again, I'm willing to try it. And, I realize there's more cost in one sheet up front. I get that. But, the value, I think, is in the end game, not in the short term.
Absolutely.
So, you got to have to look at it.
Best thing you can and don't have to replace it.
Yeah. I mean, money saved, money saved long term is money earned. So that's what I'm looking at. I'm looking at a long game. You're like, wow, that's $135 a sheet. And I think about it. I'm like, well, I can get, my 8-frame stuff. I don't remember now what it was. There might've been like a dozen migratory lids I can get out of it. I'm like, if I pay somebody $25 or $30 a lid to make them for me. But, I can actually get, let's say, a dozen lids. I pay $135 and I can get a dozen lids out of that. And let's be honest, it's not difficult to make a migratory lid. I mean, that is relatively basic and simple. I mean, I can end up making them at $135. If I get a dozen out of it, that's $11.25 a piece. Obviously, I have a little bit of time and such in it, but let's be honest, that most of those migratory lids made out of HDO are going to cost you. I think Bob Benny was selling his on the 8-frame side for like $27 a piece if you pay retail for them.
Yeah.
So I mean, there's that.
Well, I'm going to give it a try.
Yeah, I'm kind of working through the same thing too. Like I said, I ordered a dozen sheets from my brother-in-law, and they're due to land here next week. So, the nice thing about it is too, and thinking about it is, you really want a piece of wood that's going to stay pretty flat and pretty true, because you don't have the luxury of having an inner cover to seal down, as well as a telescoping cover for, to keep moisture in or out, or create a nice seal. So you really want something that's going to stay true and pretty flat, like from day one all the way through.
And that's what I understand. That stuff is absolutely rigid and will stay flat.
Yeah, and that's kind of the way I understood it as well. So all I know is it's going to be far cheaper than me paying, I don't remember now what, I want to say a migratory lid. And if somebody else thinks differently in here, please spit it out. I want to say $25 to $27 a piece for for a telescoping lid, and your inner cover, I don't even know, $10, $12 a piece maybe. So you're just short with tax, probably $40 for that setup. And, if I can make, again, my lids for 12, 13, 14, 15 bucks all in, that's still a pretty good savings. And, you don't have to spend a lot of time on a saw or a nail gun or whatever your method you choose to put them together. You don't have to spend a lot of time on any one of those to make those lids yourself. So
the bottom board's the same way. I looked on Man Lake and I looked at a treated one. I'm not a big fan of treated lumber, but I think it was $24, $26, $27 for a bottom board. It was a lot of money. So, and you can make it's basically the same number of bottom boards as you can migratory covers out of a sheet.
Yeah.
So.
Yep, you should be able to get a lot of them. Again, I did the calculations on what it was in that sheet and what I needed out of each one of them, and I can't remember now what it was. But me and Matt with Sandy Valley, he was looking for some too, and I was able to locate it before he did. And I said, "Do you want any? I'm gonna place an order. If you do, jump in on it." But the beauty about this is I don't have to order. Like a couple of the lumber yards near me said, "Yep, we can get it in." It's like you have to buy the whole thing. Well, the whole thing's 60 sheets.
Yeah,
about $8,000. And I'm like, I would have no problem spending $8,000 if I could move what I didn't want. And I want a small portion of that, I'm not going to work that hard to move those sheets. So when I found this, he's like, you can order one, you can order whatever you want. He goes, I can get in. I mean, they do luckily my brother-in-law with this company, they do millions of dollars worth of lumber sales with these guys every single year. So, $1,000, $1,500, $2,000 in lumber is nothing for these guys. So, that'll be a good thing for us here.
Well, thanks for the info. That's very valuable. That kind of reaffirms what I'm already thinking.
Yeah. Well, this will be a little bit of a learning curve for me too. Again, I did buy a few lids from Bob just to try out, throw out there. And somebody's just been sitting out in the weather and the rain, just like I get it from him. And
we used them on our brood haulers. Actually, they worked really good on those this spring.
Yeah, I basically made a screen bottom board on just a box. And then I would, so it's ventilated on the bottom, and I would throw a migratory lid on the top. And then I would load brood into these. I'd throw them on a pickup truck bed, and I'd strap all these. I made, 4 or 5 or 6 of them.
Well, what you used was a screened inner cover for the bottom board.
Yeah. Yeah, it was like a screened inner cover, and I just flipped it on the bottom, screwed it to the bottom.
Right. Put a couple cleats under the bottom and keep it off the ground. Yeah.
Yeah. Believe it or not, they actually had these little cleats somewhat kind of built into it. So all I had to do was put a couple screws in the bottom, hold it on there.
Oh, wow.
Throw excess brood in there, throw the lid on. So they had some ventilation on the bottom, and
worked great.
It did. It worked wonderful. So, I mean, again, looking at long term, I'm not looking at a year or 2 or 3 years. I'm looking at 15 years down the road? Are these lids still going to be what I want them to be? Because, again, I'm playing the long game here. I'm not playing the short 2, 3, 4 year game here. I'm wanting this thing to pay off long term. And that was the reason I made the investment of building the wax dipping tank too. I understood I have a huge cost up front, but I'm playing that long game there. So
I am too, but I'm 72 years old, so the long game is like to the end of my life. Probably.
well, I mean, hey, you can live to be 100 and still beekeeping. So, that's 28 years, right? So
right.
You never know.
Right.
It'll be an investment to the future.
Lord willing.
That's right. Absolutely.
So we're getting kind of long here. Y'all want to go ahead and talk about this?
Sure. We'll end things off with this little project we've got going on.
You want me to bring it up?
Yep, you
Okay.
have to share it. Yeah. Oh, I don't know if it can be bigger.
Ooh, I can't do it from this end.
Let me. Yeah, I don't know if I can make it bigger either. Well, if y'all can make your screen bigger, make your screen bigger. Or go to our Facebook page. The same thing is on the Facebook page, and I'll share it on the No Life Beekeepers Facebook page also. So basically, earlier this year, Philip had talked to Ricky about all of the people who who'd lost bees during Hurricane Helene in North Carolina. Was it in the fall, I guess? And some of the clubs out there, Ricky had informed us, said that they had a need for about 300 colonies. And as of the spring, they have been able to give people about 100 of those 300 colonies. So Philip wanted to start this where if anybody wanted to donate nukes or frames of brood or queens, anything like that to get people in North Carolina who lost their bees again. Tom, Matt Ramsbottom with Sandy Valley Honey Company, and JW are going to leave this area on June 6th and drive bees out to North Carolina and distribute them on June 7th. So if anybody is along their drive route that would like to donate bees to them, you can message us. Our email is on the flyer, so we can kind of hook up with you along their route. Or if you want to mail a check, you can address it to, I think the gentleman's name, again, it's on that flyer. His name is Wayne Pitts, and you can mail it to our address. Our mailing address is on that flyer also. And then the funds, if you donate funds, those funds are going to go to purchasing beekeeping equipment or purchasing more nukes for the people who are still in need of nukes. So it's just kind of an outreach project that Philip just kind of felt a need or felt drawn to help people in North Carolina that lost a lot of their bees. So if you feel it, if you're able and you feel the need to help with this project, that would be fabulous. We would appreciate it. Again, if you want to mail checks, make them to Mr. Wayne Pitts. That is the president of Ricky's Bee Club. They don't have a dedicated bank account yet for their bee club. It's fairly new. So Mr. Wayne Pitts, and they will all be mailed to us, and we'll collect all the money together and present it to them. And Ricky said that he himself will make sure to kind of report back to tell us exactly kind of where that money went. So we're not just like handing somebody a bunch of money and saying, here you go, do with it what you will. So that there's some accountability there.
The federal government does that.
Yeah. So we're not doing PayPal or Venmo just because Ricky nor I want to be responsible for having that money in our accounts. No. And PayPal takes a portion of, percentage of it, as does if you donate through YouTube, they take a portion of it. So if you write a check and mail it to us, we'll get it to them, to their club and whatnot. But yes, if you feel in your heart that this is something you should donate to, we'd appreciate it. The people in North Carolina and the Ashe County area would appreciate it. Again, this poster will be it's on our Facebook page, and I'll post it on the No Life Beekeepers Facebook page. If anybody has any questions and they want to ask us or for some clarification, you can email us at via honeybees@gmail.com. We'd be happy to answer any questions. Philip was on here earlier, but he may have dropped off by now. But yeah, so that's just we just kind of wanted to share that and offer that opportunity to anybody if they're interested. We'd appreciate it. So that's that. Do you have anything to add to that?
I mean, the only thing I want to add is, I guess, so we were talking with it the other night, trying to figure out logistics and everything going down there, talking about costs, hotel staying going down, hotel stay coming back, and the type of cost it was. And I said initially what I could probably build and put together, because Melissa and I have our own customers that we still have to finish up with, plus our own goals and our growth that we had planned ahead of time before this kind of came about. Matt already had something that he kind of wanted to donate, but we also, if we're going to haul bees down there, it has to make sense and make worthwhile. If we just try to haul a dozen colonies down there, that's just not going to make sense with the logistics and hauling going down there. I mean, you'll spend, $1,500 to haul a couple bees down there. So, I mean, we're still trying to work through that and see what that can look like. Again, we're all kind of short on time right now, so I don't have a whole lot of time to rally a bunch of troops on this whole thing. So if you guys feel led to do something, great. If you don't, then so be it. Again, this is something that was on Philip's heart to do.
And Philip's donating like $500. He said he was donating like $10 for every colony that came through winter. And he said that puts him at like $540 or something like that. Right.
So there may be a means to picking up some bees out that direction. He said certain things were hard to get because a lot of people lost colonies. So the idea was trying to lighten the load. It doesn't leave a lot of time there, which I don't like, because this sort of stuff takes a lot of planning. It takes a lot of time to rally people around the idea and to get things put together. And that takes a lot of time to get done as well. So there's a lot of good thought here. We just need to make sure, as far as us running down that direction, it makes it worthwhile for that long haul down there and back. So hopefully this works out. We'll see how that whole thing goes. But again, if you guys feel led to do something, great. This is completely up to you guys. We're just trying to be a middleman to help bridge a gap, basically.
Paul has a question.
I mean, yeah, you absolutely could. If that's something you feel led to do, Paul, so be it. We will actually document the journey going down there, passing things over, document it back so you guys can see what happens. Again, we want to help out too, but I can only do so much myself, with the growth that we have already planned, as well as our customers that we already have to take care of. I already have that obligation, and we all understand that, at least for us here in St. Louis, growing bees from now through June, fairly easy. You get past June and that it becomes an uphill battle. So we still have a growth rate that we would like to hit our own selves. So anyway, I mean, if anybody feels led to help in any form or fashion, we're happy to help or take on that. Absolutely, Steve. If you want to come help to unload or anything, I mean, that would be wonderful. I think many hands make light work, even though I don't think we're bringing a tractor trailer load of bees, which I wish we were. But it's,
you never know though.
We only have so much means ourselves. So we're just kind of putting this out there. So if people, again, have something on their heart that they want to do or they feel led to do, great. We'll just see where this thing goes. So it is kind of shorter notice. I don't think a month leaves a lot of time for a lot of planning, to be honest with you. And I wish this whole thing could have been brought up sooner, because I may have been able to rally a couple guys that I know in the commercial field to get me something. But now trying to drive so many hours in an opposite direction may be somewhat unreasonable at this point in time, since we're going to be taking a few days out of our schedule to try to get this done.
Ricky did bring up a good point though, that like, it doesn't have to be a full 5-frame nuke. Like a 3-frame nuke would be amazing. If you catch a swarm and you don't have any room for swarms, like throw that swarm in a box with some frames and that would be great.
But we also understand it's not reasonable for somebody in Texas to say, oh yeah, I want to donate a nuke or 2 nukes. you know what, it doesn't make sense to get 2 nukes from where we're going to be traveling along the route, so some of these things can be a little bit difficult to get done. But so again, we were just trying to think through some of the ideas on this and how people can help. So whatever we can do to help.
Somebody may even know a company that would, if you wanted to just purchase package bees and have them mailed up there.
Yeah.
From somewhere,
Mm-hmm.
That may be something doable.
Yep, absolutely.
Steve, if people are going to mail checks for Ricky's Club to the Wayne Pits, I need to get that to me by that first week in June. So probably mail it sometime that last week in May if you're going to mail a check.
Mm-hmm.
So again, this is no pressure on anybody. This is just something that Philip had on his heart. So he asked us to kind of help to join in, and Matt got interested. And JW said that he would fund the fuel cost for going. So that part's covered. But yeah, if you feel in your heart to do that, we'd appreciate it.
Yep. I mean, if anybody wants to reach out to us personally about something, you can do that through email if you'd like. I mean, I know DC, like you're not on Facebook, so you can't communicate that way. But if you go through via honeybees@gmail.com, send us a message or whatever, and we can figure out how to work something out too. If you feel led to do something, I'm open to any ideas here as far as anything goes. I want to do what I can. I'm all aboard. I love giving back to the community and giving back to people. I feel like we can bless somebody if it's just something small. So I'm on board, but again, I can only do so much myself. So, and this is really Philip's.
I wish I could have gone there in March with 300 swarm traps. I could have caught them 300 swarm traps.
I know, right? We all have this want and desire to help people out, but it has to be within our own means,
Yeah.
So I get it. We're all kind of spread out a little bit. Joey lives all the way down in Louisiana. We're here in St. Louis. North Carolina is not some quick, just over the hill trip. I'm
on the western edge of the Texas Hill Country, so.
Yeah, you're even further than I am.
Yeah.
You're several hours even.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I'm getting tired, and
me too. I'm ready for bed.
Numbers are dropping, so.
Tom's got to rest up so he can serve me tomorrow.
Oh. Okay. Yeah. I took my mother out today, fed her. So
we have a busy day after church tomorrow.
Yeah,
taking the mamas out, and so they don't have to wash dishes.
Well, God bless y'all. It's been enjoyable.
Yeah. Yeah, it was nice to chat with you tonight.
Until next time.
All right. Appreciate everybody coming on. We'll see y'all next time.
Night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night.